Up and at 'em on a Thursday morning, November the 7th. It's already been a week since Halloween, Preston Thorne. And 3 weeks from today, we won't be doing a show. We'll be getting ready for one of the greatest days of the year, Thanksgiving.
Yeah, like I said, I have no problem now with them putting the Christmas stuff up because it's like it just happened so quickly. Now we're here.
Yeah, you blink and
3 weeks and yeah, we're here now.
Yeah, welcome. A week removed from Halloween.
Start seeing the fried onions and just the green beans and all the Thanksgiving stuff in the store. You're like, oh yeah, that is happening.
Yeah,
Wow.
Take notice because in 2 weeks you're going to be like, oh no, Thanksgiving's a week away. Like,
they're out of it.
That's a good point.
It happens quickly.
So get your Thanksgiving shopping done this week prior to the football games on Saturday so you can hang out and relax. We'll get you into all of that this morning. Dow Loggins, Clayton White talking yesterday.
Hello, Game Talks. How you doing today?
We've asked. I've not looked at the cut list this morning, but we have asked for. We've got a good compilation of openings. Yeah, we're gonna do what we do here on the early game and compare and contrast the opening statements from Dow Loggins and Clayton White, maybe even Clark Lee as well, and let you hear that and really start to dig into this game a little bit. Last night, kind of a look. I know stuff was going on in this country throughout this week, including the college football playoff. Last night was nice. It was quiet. It was relaxing. It was like the first real day I noticed, man, it's only like 3 o'clock, but it feels like 6. Like, it slowed down. Watched a movie last night, like got away from the sports world, removed myself from that. So now I start to rev back up with some football tonight. Coastal Carolina, down there in Conway at Brooks Stadium. You get to host Appalachian State, which Preston his maybe it's because I want it to be and it is not. Maybe I'm trying to manufacture a little bit of a rivalry here, but it feels like this is a fun series between the two.
Fun series, yes. And at a time when both teams are rolling, it has the potential to be a rivalry. Maybe when the good folks in the Sun Belt scheduled this game or when the computer spit this out, I'm sure a lot of people circled it and said, hey, this has the potential to be a big one. And unfortunately, neither team has lived up to – I don't know what the expectations were for App, but Coastal definitely hasn't. So it's a little bit of a letdown.
Coastal got off to a decent start this year. Kind of got rolling early on, had some nice wins. They opened 3-0, knocking off Jacksonville State, William and Mary, and Temple before losing to a good Virginia team. Beat up on Old Dominion 45-37, and since then they've dropped 3 in a row. James Madison hammered them, especially I believe it was the second quarter. Might have been the first or second quarter. James Madison got all over them and ended up winning that game 39-7. Louisiana beat them by 10, and Troy knocked them off last week. And no offense to Coastal Carolina and really no offense to Troy, but Troy's bad at football right now, and they won 38-24. So Coastal will look to get back on the winning streak tonight. Again, it will be 8 o'clock ESPN. Again, it'll be down there at Brooks Stadium. So we look forward to that one tonight when you talk about some nice Thursday night football. But maybe the game of the night will be in the NFL in one of those fun AFC quarterback battles, Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow.
That's must-see TV. Two of the best playing in the game right now. Obviously, Baltimore has gotten it going, so they're on track. Cincinnati is in win mode.
I was going to say,
now.
Cincinnati
They basically have to win in order to stay alive for the playoffs. I'm not saying this is a playoff elimination match, but it's pretty close.
Cincinnati opened the season 1-4, and it feels like every week is a playoff elimination match for them.
I mean, yes, we do ridiculous and hyperbole on this show, which, by the way, I think I might have one today.
Okay.
But it's pretty close for Cincinnati. If they don't win, this might be a playoff elimination match.
These two met already this year, and it was phenomenal. 41-38 overtime game.
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson threw for 348 yards and 4 touchdowns. Joe Burrow threw for 392 yards and 5 touchdowns. Derrick Henry ran for 92 yards in that game. Jamar Chase had 10 receptions for 193. The Stars...
That's what you want.
The Stars showed up earlier this year when these two teams played, and it was a lot of fun on a Sunday afternoon. hopefully we get that tonight. I got to admit, that's more of what I'll be tuned into tonight than I'll have the second TV, the smaller television on the Coastal Carolina game. There is another college game tonight, by the way, if you're kind of into this kind of thing. But tonight you also have Florida Atlantic, the former Lane Kiffins, at East Carolina. No,
thank you.
No, thank you.
I'll pass.
8 o'clock ESPN2. But, yeah, tonight, great NFL matchup there with Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson. Maybe we'll get into that a little bit. We'll start to take a look around the college football world today as you've got an interesting weekend. Now that we have the college football playoff out, or the early playoff committee's rankings, Preston, we start to take a look at what are, I think, weekly elimination games in this thing. And there's a couple this weekend where you go like, all right, Georgia, Mississippi, maybe more so Mississippi, but elimination game for you. Indiana hosting Michigan. First time Indiana's been favored in something like a million years since the dinosaurs were roaming the earth and playing football. And it feels like if Indiana loses, Indiana, you're eliminated. That was really neat and fun. That was really cool of you being undefeated there for about 8 or 9 games. But if you lose to Michigan, who's not all that good, I kind of am okay with playing Michigan in a bowl game. But if you lose to Michigan, it's kind of like, thanks, Indiana. Your neat little story's gone. Can we please now bring our Blue Bloods back into the equation?
Yeah, this is a big one. Obviously, that's the biggest game of Kirsten Eddy's career.
He's about to go on a run of them.
Until next week?
He's going, look, they get a bye week next week, but they get Ohio State at Ohio State on November 23rd. And so right now the 9-0 Hoosiers, you've been cute, you've been fun. If you lose, you're no longer allowed in our playoff committee meetings.
First segment. Don't do this first segment, but this game for Indiana is similar to the game that I said for South Carolina versus Oklahoma, where they should march. Or they should, I don't know if they're
defend home field. They're at home.
Okay, so they're at home. They should send Michigan the Big Blue packing.
Turn them around at the gate.
Turn them around. 60 minutes. Nice, that was fun. Now go back home. Go to Ann Arbor. They should win this game if they are the program that they think they are.
Well, we'll get into a bunch of these. Clemson, essentially, I don't know if you even Clemson at 23, but Clemson at Virginia Tech this weekend. That game also kind of an afternoon game on ESPN. Clemson a favorite in that game, but the way Virginia Tech's run the ball and the way Clemson stopped the run last week against Louisville, we'll keep an eye on that one. We'll get into all of these games. Should be a really fun weekend of college football. Again, gets going tonight with Coastal Carolina and Appalachian State, which again, to me, it is just, I don't know. It's kind of a neat little Sun Belt rivalry, if you will. Coastal has won the last 2. App State had won 7 out of 8 prior to that. This will be the 11th meeting tonight. These two teams hook up. Obviously, a Carolinas kind of matchup. Boone, North Carolina, Coastal Carolina. Your mountains versus your coastal area. A lot of fun tonight.
Yeah, it should be a good game, regardless of the stakes regardless of what's at stake, but it should be a very good game.
So we'll get into we'll kind of keep you updated on that. We'll talk a little bit about that. Last year, Coastal winning 27-24. The year prior, 35-28. Year prior to that, 30-27. So 3 straight games decided by a touchdown or less. But we'll talk a lot of South Carolina. We'll get into what Dow Loggins and Clayton White had to say yesterday. Clayton White, maybe a little bit more chipper. Dow Loggins, a little bit more Dow Loggins.
Yeah, but he might be chipper this week, too. He might be walking in there like, hey, you see them numbers we put up?
That's a good point.
Told you.
Speaking of which, we're here in the studio. We look up 4:05 to go in the fourth quarter. Gamecocks up 30-20. I guess this is one of those comments that they're re-airing the game on the SEC network, and it's a 10-point game. And now as I'm thinking about it in my mind, I didn't realize South Carolina was only up 10 with 4 minutes to go.
Okay, and let me ask you this.
I believe this is going to be the Josh Simon play right here that goes for it's going to probably be the next one. This is a handoff.
Why do you say only up 10?
It felt like with 4 minutes to go, like, in the heat of the game, maybe you're like, oh yeah, we're in complete control. Whereas now I look up and I'm like, I thought we were up by like 17 at this point.
So you're saying at this point,
I felt like now I was celebrating a victory more so than even when I look up now. Even now, knowing the outcome and being 5 days removed, I'm like, this one's really close. I think they're going to hold on.
Yeah. Yeah, it was close.
So, and the ESPN montage of really close games now airing as it shows the missed kick against LSU and the missed 2-point conversion followed by the interception against Alabama. So showing everything for South Carolina. But we'll let you hear from Clayton White. What was his opening statement yesterday? How cheery was he? What neat little saying did he offer yesterday? We'll let you hear his opening statement. We'll also talk about what he had to say. And in my opinion, the major advantage for South Carolina, the Gamecock defense against a Diego Pavia-led offense, and Diego Pavia on the injury report. Popped up on the injury report last night. A little banged up and bruised. We'll talk about that. That's right. I'll tell you. We still expect him to play. 803-404-6100. You're listening to the early game. Bill Gunner for the Mortgage Guru, Jacob Crowder with First Palmetto Bank. Let me tell you something. If you're thinking about here at the end of the year refinancing, you're already looking ahead to 2025, you're thinking about building a home, purchasing a home, you need to see what interest rates are available to you right now, what's going on. And the best way to do that is to start by calling a guru, the Mortgage Guru, Jacob Crowder with First Palmetto Bank. Let me give you an example. If you're thinking about moving into, say, Richland County, if you've been looking out that way and you think that's a good area, you found the home you like, ask Jacob Crowder today about the Community Reinvestment Product. It is a 4.99% interest with a 5.075 APR on a 30-year fixed mortgage. It does not have to be your first home. So if you know someone who's moving for a second or third time and looking into Richland County, tell them about the Community Reinvestment Product and have them call Jacob Crowder, 803-719-1005. Again, that's 803-719-1005. Call the Mortgage Guru today.
And taking a look at the traffic conditions out there this morning, I-20 westbound at Monticello Road, we have a report of an accident there. Also, I-20 eastbound between Clemson Road and Spears Creek Church Road. So between mile marker 80 and 82, the two right lanes are currently blocked. I'm sure this has to do with the weather out there. A lot of standing water, heavy rainfall. The rain will be continuing today, really, throughout a good part of the day. Should be easing off a little bit after lunchtime, but expect some showers throughout the day. And then we're looking for a few showers in the morning tomorrow before they clear out, and a high of 79 tomorrow, 74 today, 67 in rain right now.
Rolling along on a rainy Columbia morning. Not sure how it is down in Florence or Myrtle Beach. Hopefully it's a little bit better. But as you get up and get driving here in the Midlands, try and be safe. Preston and I were just talking off air about the drive-in, and Jen and I had to experience coming in from Lexington. So if you're getting up this morning, getting the kids to school, be safe out there. It's rainy. I think Jen just told you it's supposed to be rainy throughout the rest of the day. So a good day maybe to get your work done, get home, watch football tonight. Get fully immersed.
Yeah, even coming from the northeast side, it was not necessarily the rain, but the streets were already starting to puddle.
Yeah.
And especially while it was dark. It was not a great ride in, so be safe.
Be safe. 803-404-6100. Let's get out to the phone lines. Ernest wants to weigh in today. Ernest, how you doing? What's on your mind this morning?
Good morning, Bill and Preston. This weekend, as you know, is Veterans Day and the 249th birthday of our beloved Marine Corps. 249 years, 2.5 centuries. So think about the Marines and the veterans this weekend. They're doing a Toys for Tots drive at the VFW on Cedar Crest Drive in Lexington. That's at 424 Cedar Crest Drive from 11 to 3. It's $20 per vehicle to enter for the car show, or bring a new unwrapped toy for a child. And also, don't forget, if you can't make that, Charwood Golf Course. Rock Lucas and Daniel Lucas do a great thing for veterans and everybody else. So, Semper Fi, 249 years, keeping this country safe.
Ernest, just out of number one, we will be on Monday. Preston and I will be out at Charwood broadcasting live from the L.C. Lucas Memorial Tournament. Look forward to that with our good friends Rock and Daniel. But let me ask you, since you brought up the VFW, did you happen to be out? Are you a member of that VFW out in Lexington?
No, I am not a member of the VFW. This is being done by the Marine Corps League at the VFW, which
Gotcha.
I am a member of the Marine Corps League. I am currently the Assistant Sergeant at Arms for the Department of South Carolina. So we're doing all we can to help the needy children this year.
Good deal, buddy. Boy, I was going to mention I played in the VFW golf tournament on Monday over at Golden Hills in Lexington. Didn't know if you were there, but I appreciate it. We look forward. Hopefully, we'll see you on Monday out at Charwood. Again, Preston, I'll be out there broadcasting live from the L.C. Lucas Memorial Tournament.
Yeah, and again, shout out to the Marines. I would say my childhood experience growing up, my old man was a Marine.
Mine too.
And this was the day when it was like, all right, man, I appreciate your service, but you are on one today. It was always good. Like, like every other day was cool, but today it was like, I was a Marine. I was like,
Oh yeah.
I got it.
Yeah, the pride there is no question. My dad wore a lanyard forever, and had kind of a nameplate or something where he'd cut out, and it's like, okay, yeah. So I mean, nobody questioned.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. So shout out to the Corps.
803-404-6100. Thank you for that phone call and for the information, Ernest. Always appreciate it. Let's hear from a guy who was very happy yesterday. Now, Clayton White's a man that sometimes is not of many words. He's to the point, gets his point across. As a matter of fact, it looks like, as I look down our list of audio from yesterday, his opening statement was the longest. His chance to get in there and really talk. So let's hear the opening statement from Mr. Clayton White, defensive coordinator for South Carolina yesterday.
Good afternoon. Hope you guys are doing great. Quick review of last week. Just very proud of how, first and foremost, the crowd was unbelievable. We felt like that was one of the better environments that we played in since we've been here. You know, obviously every Saturday or whatever night we play in Willie B is outstanding, but I thought that was unbelievable environment for everybody who was there. Just reviewing the game, obviously love how it all started out. You know, the second quarter was kind of bumpy. The finish of the game was what we're most proud of as a football team. That's how we finished the second half, and we came together and just came out victorious. And then this week with Vanderbilt, obviously a team that's riding high, on a roll, different Vanderbilt football team led by their quarterback, Pavia. He does a really good job of just distributing the football. He's very mobile in both ways, as far as in the pocket and also quarterback run mobility. I think they have some weapons. Really good team. Looking forward to go down to that and play.
So a lot of information.
Quality information. Today we're gonna dork out on the run game today, Bill. We're gonna get into it today, looking at what Clayton says about the triple option, about all the things about Pavia, because that is essentially what the game boils down to. I'm not sure if there's been a game this year where it's singularly focused on stopping a person controlling the whole game.
Okay. All right. Yeah, we'll definitely get into that a little bit there. Now, I do want to go back to what we just heard there from Clayton White. That sounds like a man, and I'm being serious and I'm being funny. Clayton's name has been thrown a little bit around in the search for the East Carolina head coaching job. I don't know if it's just a good year defensively and his name is there. Sounds like a man preparing himself for a head coaching job one day, though. And that's the way you got to actually handle it.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to happen eventually, and again, that's what you want. You want your coordinators to get their names thrown around because that means they're being successful. That means people want them. I don't know Clayton very well. I wonder what his level of ambition is as far as if that's something he wants now or is that something he's always wanted. Some guys just want to sit in the room and draw ball plays all day, right? So I don't know if that's what he wants, but good for us that he might have those opportunities.
One other name just to throw out at you that would just ruin a lot of things. Skip Holt, also on the East Carolina coaching hot board.
Getting the band back together.
Together.
He is the UFL champ 3 times.
That's what I was gonna say. Completely mess up the Birmingham Stallions. 26-4 with 3 consecutive spring league championships since joining the pro ranks.
3 times. And listen, man, Skip's my guy. So if that happened, I'd be watching the East Carolina Pirates.
There you go. But all right, you want to get into this? You said dork out on the run game.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that'll kind of be a consistent theme throughout the day because we have our offensive run game and their offensive run game. But if we're looking at here, let's listen to Clayton. I believe it's clip 17, Jen, talking about Pavia's ability and what he does well.
I mean, you are surprised when you outside looking in, but once the season started going, I get crossover tape of other teams and just watching them play. Not surprised that of his background. Not surprised that he was a previous winner. I was well aware of that. He went down to Auburn and got things done before, so that wasn't my first time hearing the story. But when you watch the tape, I mean, some things can be surprising. But he does a really good job. He has some Houdini in him, so we got to do a great job of him embracing tackles with him and make sure we're smart and we have other guys to the ball containing him and keep him in the pocket. But not super surprised because I've kind of heard him a little bit. Just make sure we on point, understand what we're facing. That's the most important thing.
One thing I do take away from that, he seems locked in. It's almost like he's very in tune with what Diego Pavia is, and I think that's a big part of South Carolina this week as we watch here now on the screen in front of us, a minute 54, the celebration from Saturday night. South Carolina's up 44-20 here in the replay of the South Carolina-Texas A&M game, and it's not getting caught up in that big win and the emotions. You go on the road, and I don't know if it's better, Preston, for defenses and offenses after a big win like that where the crowd celebrates you to now go on the road where you have to focus maybe a little bit more and come together at the hotel and travel and all that.
Well, this week is especially going to be a week where the defense is going to need to focus because of the option game that Vandy runs. It's not going to be as much of winning the physical battles. Yes, that's obviously there, but being able to win the mental game of playing your assignments and do all of those things, because option football can get frustrating when you're souped up on emotions and you want to hit the first thing you see. But then, as he said, this guy's Houdini. You hit him, and all of a sudden you think you make a tackle, and the ball's going 10 yards down the field. So there is going to be the physical component, and everybody's going to be pumped up, but mentally they're going to have to be able to play their assignments.
Let's hear that. This is number 12, Jen. This is defending the option play that Preston just talked about. Again, a lot of run game discussion. Here's what Clayton White said yesterday about defending the option plays.
I think that definitely helps. Helps at practices, but the pressure is not at practice. Obviously there is pressure at practices, depending on how we build our practices. But it does help a lot facing Lenoris and Robbie and how those guys do those things on offense. It definitely gives us a full speed look of what we're going to see on a Saturday. Just like I said, obviously getting a look from Lenoris is just as good as you're going to get. Just like we got looks last year. I got hounded for making comments about Lenoris. Giving us a too good of a look. It is what it is.
He just ran out of steam.
Listen, I want to post our cut sheet, because if you can see every cut sheet with Clayton starts with 0, 30 seconds, 26 seconds, 23 seconds. Dow Loggins, every cut, minute plus, every single one. And so it's just interesting, the difference. The analytics on the cut sheet is very interesting.
We'll get to Dow Loggins in the next segment, and we love Clayton White. We love Coach White. But, yeah, it's like that one. It's like he was going right along and got into that Lenore Sellers and comparing having to defend the option in practice and the looks they get. And then it just almost comes to a complete stop with, and it is what it is.
Yeah, there is something to that, because you can't teach the option.
Right.
If you don't do it every day, it's hard for your scout team to give an option look. And nobody's going to be more frustrated than Clayton White and whoever the GA is that's trying to run the scout team offense. We don't run the option we don't do it very often, so you're trying to get them to run the option. It's like, no, he gives the ball here, and they're like, Coach, we don't do this. And so there's going to be a lot of frustration this week of trying to get them to run that offense when you don't practice it.
803-404-6100. Scott weighs in, and you can testify to this. He says, Lou Holtz always said, when you go on the road, you have to bring your defense, your kicking game, and your togetherness.
That's the last one. Bring that togetherness, for sure.
803-404-6100. We'll continue talking about South Carolina defending Vanderbilt, because I think that's where the major advantage is on Saturday for South Carolina. We talked about this is not a particularly good, they're efficient to an extent, and they hurt you when you give them opportunities, but it's not a particularly great Vanderbilt offense. I think some things are a little skewed. They had a pick six against Alabama, but Alabama also had a few other turnovers that set up easy scores. The numbers are a little skewed, and this is not the best defense the Vanderbilt. This is not the best defense Vanderbilt's faced. They faced Texas, but it feels like this is the most aggressive defense they've played when I watch Texas play.
That's really interesting. Yeah, whatever you think about our offense, if you've been frustrated with our offense, they are statistically right in the same neighborhood as us in a lot of categories.
803-404-6100. Speaking of our offense, of the South Carolina offense, we'll let you hear from Dow Loggins when we come back. You're listening to the early game.
Hey, it's Jen for Carolina Stone Craftsman just outside Columbia in Chapin. We did renovation in a bathroom upstairs and got a countertop from them. Totally thrilled, to the point where we're now remodeling the master bath. Needed a countertop, of course. So, of course, where else do we go? Was to Carolina Stone Craftsman. Learn about their commitment to affordable marble, granite, and quartz, and how everything is sculpted with the highest craftsmanship, delivered with professional results. They're so easy to work with. You go in there, you visit their beautiful showroom, and they give you all kinds of education on what you might need to find and what would be the best within your space, and even outdoor spaces as well. Everything from the entire process was so great, and it's the same for us right now. I encourage you to reach out to Carolina Stone Craftsman. Be sure to tell them Jen Jensen, family owned and operated. They are Carolina Stone Craftsman, just beyond Columbia in Chapin and beyond your expectations for sure. CarolinaStoneCraftsman.com. I-20 eastbound between Clemson Road and Spears Creek Church Road. The two right lanes are blocked, so obviously stay left approaching that area on I-20 eastbound. On I-20 westbound at Monticello Road, we have a report of an accident, and it looks like there's some flooding on the highway I-26 westbound there around exit 139, so be careful there. And actually east and westbound, kind of in the 125 to 139, the low-lying areas, there's some flooding on the highways. Expecting that today as we have this heavy rain coming through, and it's looking like we're going to see the rain today really off and on, but through at least lunchtime a little bit heavier, but could continue through the rest of the day. 67 is what we're looking for a high on the early game.
It is Thursday. That means Carolina Calls with Shane Beamer and Todd Ellis tonight. Make sure you tune in right here, 107.5 The Game, 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. You can hear what Coach Shane Beamer has to say tonight on Carolina Calls, again with Todd Ellis. That'll be right after Jay Phillips finishes things up at 6 o'clock. He will be followed right behind Shane Beamer and Todd Ellis. So make sure you tune in tonight here, 107.5 The Game in Columbia, 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. And some of what he will probably brag about was the offensive performance this past Saturday against Texas A&M. But now you got to carry that over. But here's the first question. Why was the offense different against Texas A&M? Dow Loggins giving us a little bit of an explanation yesterday. Here's what he had to say.
I got you. Sorry about that. No, I think it's you get a bye week. I told you guys we tweaked kind of some of the stuff we did during the bye week offensively with the schedule, and just had a chance to really focus on ourselves and get right, and also do some more study and have some more time on Texas A&M, elite defense and one rushing defense in the SEC for a reason. They do a great job schematically and talent. You tie it all together, and they're a handful. And there's a reason why I think they might have the best record in the SEC, but a lot of credit to our guys. Like, they took the challenge very serious. They knew what they needed to do. They knew what the areas and some of those things we need to improve, and we got a couple extra days to work on them, which obviously helped as well. But the credit goes to not just those guys, but it's also Josh Simon and Rocket and Lenore's. Lenore's got us out of a couple tough spots, and so it's just all those guys taking the extra week of prep serious and being dialed in the game plan, and they did a great job handling that stuff.
How much do you buy in from that when you hear him talk about that?
Yeah, I think I'm on him. I agree with that, because it seems as if we've done very well in opening drives, which I think stem from being able to study film, knowing their tendencies. I think Dow probably does a very thorough job in scouting and having the plays, being able to draw up the work against the team. And so another extra week, I'm sure he probably had a lot of different options that he felt he could exploit some weaknesses that he found. So yeah, that makes perfect sense to me. The only issue is we don't get bye weeks before every game. So
the next thing that he talked about was replicating success going forward. You got to replicate that. You can't have 1 week where you go for 530 yards and then come back this week against the Vanderbilt defense and go for 280. So yesterday, Dow Loggins talking about replicating the success moving forward starting this week.
And you know that by the way you asked the question. I know that, Hale. But I get what you're saying. I get what you're doing. Every week is a different challenge in this league, and Vanderbilt is an extremely difficult opponent to get ready for too. They have a defensive head coach who does a very good job. They've changed a lot, and from last year, it's not the same team we played last year. We're going into an SEC road game versus a ranked opponent. We're not ranked, so obviously people perceive them to be better than us, so it's a great challenge. So we have to take the same intensity to this week as we did last week, and now you fight the other stuff. So you play well, can you handle prosperity? We've proven that we can handle adversity offensively, but now can you get everyone wants to pat you on the back, and they weren't doing that 2 or 3 weeks ago. So you better take the same intensity you got ready for against Texas A&M to this week, because it's going to be the same type of struggle. Their names are different, they look different, but they play a different style. This team plays really, really hard, and the strain is going to be real. So it's going to be a 4-quarter dogfight, and we need to have the mindset that last week was last week, and this week we're on to this one, and it's going to be a difficult challenge.
Okay, number one, let's get what he's talking about coming up. We'll talk about that in a second. But I'm sensing words are being mentioned around that facility over there about Vanderbilt being ranked, meaning they're better than us.
Picking up a theme, huh?
Yeah.
You're picking up a theme. We don't pay attention to the rankings. We don't care about the outside noise. However, we have noticed this one little thing.
We notice, have a number next to their name, and we tend to notice we do not.
But we don't pay attention.
Therefore, you all think they're better than us.
Yeah, that is definitely happening. And I don't know whether that's coming from the top, but we did hear Shane say that. So I don't know whether that's the marching orders and everybody's getting that message in every single meeting. I'm sure there might be some Diego Pavia comparisons just whispered in Lenoris's ears, like who's the better. I feel like that might be the thing that we're going on this week.
Well, Shane said, I think Saturday night or Sunday in the teleconference, that there was kind of the feeling out there last week that the Texas A&M strength and conditioning coaches were better than the South Carolina strength and conditioning coaches, and that he kind of reminded Luke Day about that throughout the week.
You think that made Luke Day lift weights really hard that week? He's like, you know what? I'm going to lift some real heavy weights this
Everybody
week.
in here, a whole nother set.
I'm going to lift you, coach.
That's right.
Bench pressing
You know that 30-minute workout you was going to do, Shane, is 45 minutes now.
Look, and it's fine. Use whatever. I should have researched last night, and I forgot about it because I just brought it up sparingly yesterday. But again, I go back. It was Will Muschamp going to Vanderbilt one year, and Vanderbilt making some simple comment that South Carolina took way too seriously. But sometimes, and I don't know if Lou Holtz ever did this, used something that you guys were like, really? This is what we're using as motive? All right, well, we'll follow your lead, Coach. Yeah, we don't like, but was there ever anything like that you remember?
I can't think of anything, but it's late in the season, and if you find something to get you going, then you're just like, you know what? We're going to roll with this.
At least one of the stories would have been your freshman year, so I don't know what you remember, but the year prior in 99, South Carolina gone out to Arkansas, and I think that was like the Kyle Crabb, Kevin Sides. I think a third quarterback got into that game, and Arkansas just bludgeoned South Carolina. And I think I remember hearing stories that the week leading up, South Carolina, like Lou Holtz, like hammered something home, but I don't remember what it was. And South Carolina, I believe, shut out Arkansas that day. It was a dominant defensive performance, I think it was 27-0. I want to say late in the game, there was a fumble over by the sideline, and I think one of the linebackers scooped it up and had green grass in front of him going the other way and just ran out of bounds, and Charlie Strong fell to his knees on the ground because he knew they had a scoop and score.
That was the game I was worried if Shannon Wadley was going to get arrested for assault.
I think, yes.
Because he hit somebody so hard. It was like, matter of fact, that he would have got kicked out of the game. It was definitely targeting or assault or something along those lines. It would have been. We don't play that brand of football anymore. But yeah, I do sort of remember that. But yes, you can see that is sort of a theme that is developing. That they're ranked, we're not. Y'all think they're better. Let's go out and prove them.
803-404-6100, how you can weigh in. I tell you what, let's go back and just see what's said here. This is going to be number 18, Jen. This is Clayton White. He's talking about staying hot in November. Now, obviously, again, we just played the Dow Loggins, replicating the success. Here's Clayton White yesterday. Let's just see if he mentions anything about the rankings in here as well, if this is permeating both sides of the ball. Here's Clayton White on staying hot in November.
Yes, I would say since we've been here with Coach Beamer, that's been definitely a preaching thing that we want to make sure that it's definitely been a point of emphasis with us as a football team is playing well at the end of the season, because anybody can play well in October or in September. Really, you got to really do a great job in November and finishing strong. And obviously, finishing is part of sports, part of being a competitive person. So you really want to finish strong in most of the things that you do in sports life, on the field, off the field, everywhere. So obviously, it's a point of emphasis. But I think our guys understand 1 week at a time, 1 day at a time, 1 play, 1 quarter, 1 half, on everything, and just see what happens in the end. Just do your best always.
One thing he brings up is something that you and I looked at stats at the beginning of the year after that Old Dominion game, and I broke the season down into those 3 quarters, the first 4, the second 4, and the third 4. And the first 4 games for Shane Beamer, the record was lackluster, and you were playing less talented teams. But the final 4 games, and it's interesting to hear Clayton White say that, because you'd think about it, the offense has typically been better towards the end of the season. Think about the offensive explosion. I think it was aided by defense a little bit, but in the first year against Florida, And then it was a fairly solid offensive performance against Auburn in year one. Jason Brown leading that one. Obviously, year two, the offense, after a putrid performance against Florida, stepped up against Tennessee and Clemson. And then at least you start, I know this will be the start of the 4-game run in November, but you started with a great offensive performance last Saturday night.
Yeah, I think there's this clear trend that Shane's teams play well in November, and that's something that I think you can hang your hat on as a Gamecock fan.
We'll come back. We'll get into that injury report. Who all's on the injury report?
Preston.
We'll let Preston break it down. You're listening to the early game. Up and at 'em. 6:48 on a rainy Midlands Thursday morning. Be safe out there as you start to get yourself, the kids to school, whomever needs to travel, and wherever you got to travel, just be safe. Hang out and listen to us. Also want to remind you about the Lawyer Lisa Special Teams Contest. Need to get signed up. Pot is currently $900. If South Carolina scores a special teams touchdown this weekend, I believe Jen said yes. Jen's leaning special teams touchdown this week.
Yes, I totally agree. I think that this is the week that we're going to be seeing some Beamer ball. Got to make it happen.
I'm with her on this. By the way, we miss our Wednesdays with Pete Limbo.
Yeah.
Joe D. Camillus, we enjoy you. Thank you, but miss our Wednesdays with Pete Limbo.
Yeah, we don't get any movie references, silly nicknames.
Minivan discussion.
Yeah, he was definitely a content machine for this show. So the show took a hit when Pete left the building.
We may have to start asking Tyler to just pull some Pete Limbo Buffalo press conference clips for us to use. But Jen goes, I'm with Jen on this. I do think there's going to be if they're in position, in a decent position, a fake punt, a fake field goal to get one of a score, because this game lines up as a low-scoring game. So I'm with Jen on this. So you need to go, if you're not already registered, go to 1075thegame.com, get registered. The Lawyer Lisa Special Teams Contest. Again, that pot is currently $900. And if South Carolina scores a special teams touchdown, we will draw a winner from the registrants, and you could be that winner. Just go again to 1075thegame.com, get registered. That pot currently at $900. It is the Lawyer Lisa Special Teams Contest. No special teamers on the injury report. That's good news. Don't ever want one of those. But there are some names on the injury report, and Preston, your name wasn't on it, but you woke up the other morning with an injury to put yourself on an injury report.
Bill, I got a little bit of a neck. I got a neck.
I think that's an upper body. Just the upper body.
Sorry, I got an upper body. Woke up on Monday morning and just cannot shake this. I believe the folks call it a crick.
A crick?
I believe I got a crick.
Yep.
And
that's miserable, man.
I've not been able to shake it all week. I don't know what's going on. The recovery time's a little bit slower, but I've got a little bit of a neck. So for the early game injury report, Preston is probable, but he does have an upper body. Jen, I know you was on the injury report earlier.
She still is.
I still am.
Still am. How we still got a foot?
Still have a foot. Mm-hmm. Yep. Get that checked next week to hopefully get out of the boot.
Mm-hmm. So yeah. Bill, are you the healthiest in the group today?
I believe I am.
That's pretty shocking.
That's
actually.
a rare occurrence.
Yeah, usually you're the one gimping pretty much all the time.
I've always got an ankle or a knee or a back or a shoulder. Or for a 42-year-old who doesn't do a whole lot of athletic things anymore, I have a wild way of getting injured or having some form of an injury.
Mm-hmm. Maybe that means you need to bump up your exercise level. Maybe that would help in prevention.
Really need to start exercising again. To bump it up, you got to start. You got to get to phase 1 to bump it to phase 2. And in the last 8 years, I've been pretty good at times. But no, I would say I'm not even on the injury report. I feel good. Now, South Carolina's got 6 guys on the injury report. One of them is a bit of a surprise. Nick Barrett, now listed as doubtful. That would actually be kind of interest because DeAndre Jules is still listed as doubtful, and Shane Beamer, I'm sure, will address that again tonight. But that's your 2 heavy set guys is what I'll call them, your wider body guys.
Thank you,
320, 330 type of guys in the middle there.
Yeah. The Huskies, the biggins. Yeah, that is something that's interesting. Even though we've had the solid rotation of Tonka, Boogie, and TJ, you might need to bring some beef in at some point, and not having those 2 available, there may be something to see from that.
Diego Pavia for Vanderbilt has somehow ended. I shouldn't say somehow. I talked about this. He is beat up. He was gimping around a little bit there, limping around, and at the end of the Auburn game, but kind of toughed it out. He's on there. He is listed as probable, so therefore you're kind of like, all right, he's gonna play. But it does tell you, and this is something I brought up. You get shots on him, man. You got to take them. I mean, within the rules of the game, please. But the more you can hit him, even if we don't necessarily see it, if he gets the pass off and you're a second behind, or if he's in the run game and you can get to him before he slides, they hit him a couple times. You can put him at questionable, downgrade him as that game goes along.
And also, I haven't watched much about Diego, but just from my preliminary scouting report, he doesn't seem like a dude who's going to protect his body during the game. So he's going to be out there full force, and there will be opportunities to lay some wood on him.
I think he reminds me a lot of, but he's smaller, but he reminds me a lot of Steven Garcia. Just in kind of like I'm not going to slide. Remember, Spurrier always get mad that Garcia wouldn't slide and would put his head down, try and run you over. And it was a toughness thing similar to what Lenoris Sellers did. Lenoris, I think, is trying to balance the slide when you're past the first down versus the run people over mentality that he probably had in high school. A little bit different when you're down in Florence and you see a 5'7", 150-pound defensive back versus
5'7" defensive end.
Defensive, yeah. Probably a little different, though. But, yeah, Pavia, this is a part of the game I think that's important. And, again, doing it within the rules. Don't take cheap shots. But when you got chances to hit him, you got to hit him.
803-404-6100. Let us know your injury reports. We got to know. We got to check on our fam
That's
out
a good
there.
point.
Let us know what's your injury report. Preston's got an upper body. Jen's got a foot. Bill's a
Healthy.
probable.
I'm healthy.
He's a probable. We always got to put you on the probable list. Bill's a probable. So let us know. Where are you on the injury list?
Go out of the hall and stretch now. Yeah, let us know. Our early gamers injury report.
Exactly.
Send yours in. How are you this morning so we can check on you and make sure that we put it out properly for the SEC to know our early gamers injury report. It is the early game.
Preston here for our friends at Absolute Glass, the premier glass company of the Midlands, offering auto, business, and home glass repair. So if your glass is damaged, shattered, cracked, or broken, they can handle the job. If it's a cracked windshield, that's no problem. They'll come out to your location and replace it for you, usually for free, and they work directly with the insurance company to take away the headache. That's right. They will come out to wherever you are, school, home, work, job. It does not matter where you are. Absolute Glass will take care of it for you. Now, if you're at home and you're looking to increase the value of your home, you can do that with new windows and mirrors, and Absolute Glass will take care of that for you too. Windows, mirrors, shower enclosures. Let's say it all the time. If you can see through it, Ray and Marianne at Absolute Glass can do it. So check them out online at AbsoluteGlassInc.com. That's online at AbsoluteGlassInc.com.
And a lot of traffic issues out there this morning. I-26 eastbound between exits 125 and 139. There's some flooding there, and there seems to be some runoff, so it's almost like muddy water on the highways. So just be extra cautious as you're kind of heading between Orangeburg and Columbia. Really both I-26 eastbound and westbound, but especially around mile marker 139. I-20 eastbound between Clemson Road and Spears Creek Church Road, the right lane currently blocked, so you're going to want to stay left in that area. And I-20 westbound at Monticello Road, also a report of an accident there. This rain we're going to continue to see. We're having some heavy rain this morning and then some showers into the middle part of the day.
Seven a.m. as y'all are weighing in with your injury reports. All right, we got a couple here saying questionable. Got a leg. I think I pulled a hamstring getting off the couch.
Yep.
Co-pilot weighing in. Probable, but will be out next week after the Marine Corps birthday with a severe headache.
The Marine what?
Marine Corps.
Core.
Course, is it with a P?
It's a tough one. That's you know what?
I always say corpse.
Nah.
Not like dead corpse, but like
core.
Core. Okay.
My dad may have just flipped.
Yeah.
His corpse did flips.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that was pretty. I apologize to all of those in the Marines.
I've always said that.
It is Marine Corps.
First time I've ever been 42 years, and that ain't like it's not like I've. It's not like I don't use that either. That's not like a random. I've used it around you many a time, and you've never caught it.
I probably just ignored you.
Poor decision on your part.
You got that right.
Poor decision on your part. Text wisdom, Randy. I got a wallet sprain. Youth sports, travel ball, and Christmas on the way. Limited mobility for 6 to 8 weeks.
Yeah, that's very true.
Another texter. I sneezed too hard. Now I have a rib and listed as questionable.
I have heard of the infamous sneezes sneaking up on folks. I thought it was gonna be a back, but a rib is even worse.
Okay. So keep sending those in. We got a couple more coming in. We'll get to those. 803-404-6100. Get you ready for football tonight. Keep sending your injury reports in. We're checking on y'all. We've got a lot of great listeners, a lot of people that keep us in check, and we want to make sure y'all are healthy. We have to list you on the injury report. So keep sending those in as well. I'll keep getting to those this morning. Make sure that I can read them on air, please.
7 o'clock hour.
Yeah. Please. So, yeah, 803-404-6100 is, again, how you can send in your injury report. I do like Joey from Sumter, by the way, said, would it be weird for the head coach of the University of Buffalo to call South Carolina every Wednesday and give us a special teams report?
We just need to hear a special teams report, Pete. I think that's what we might have to do. I'm going to have to go scour the internet, get some key clips, and see what's going on.
Yeah. We'll get some more Pete Limbo there. 803-404-6100. I see some of y'all sending. I'll get back to those coming up. Look around the college football world, though. We talked about it. The new college football playoff is out, or the college football playoff rankings are out for the first week. So now you look at maybe some elimination games. We mentioned Indiana and Michigan because it feels like if Indiana loses a game, they're out. It feels like they have to win. Indiana doesn't have the cachet. Now, Indiana has Michigan. They got a bye week, and then they have Ohio State. So they are going to have to finish with some quality contests. So maybe if you lose to Michigan, then you have to beat Ohio State to get in.
Yeah, this is a must win. The more I'm looking at it, Michigan's 5-4 this year. They're not good. They're barely an average football team. Aside from playing the helmets, this should be won handily by Indiana. So, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and turn the pressure up a little bit on them. This is a must-win for them in the program.
How about Colorado at Texas Tech? Colorado checked in the top 20 there, or at 20 in the college football playoff rankings. They go on the road to Texas Tech. Colorado is favored by 3.5. This will be a 4:00 game. Texas Tech is 6-3 on the season. They just knocked off Iowa State, who Matt Campbell, we kept all of a sudden realizing, Iowa State had moved into the top 10. Now, Iowa State back out of the top 10. They picked up their first loss of the season at the hands of, again, Texas Tech. So it's not exactly an easy one. We did mention one of the bowl predictions had South Carolina going to the Texas Bowl to take on Texas Tech. That would be a sneaky, difficult game.
Wait a second. So this potential interest for South Carolina fans because the Texas Bowl had us against Texas Tech.
Right.
But then the Vegas Bowl
had us against Colorado.
So is this
It's a scout game.
Scout game, so you got to go scout this game.
4:00, put it on the third television you got going at the house because it's a 4:00 game. But, yeah, if Colorado's going to continue, this is also not just an elimination game, I feel like, for Colorado. It's also a players leave town contest. Colorado falls to 6-3. They would have Utah, Kansas, and Oklahoma State, but not going to the playoffs. We already agree Travis Hunter and Shedeur Sanders are opting out of bowl games.
Yeah, as they probably should.
Deion Sanders may opt out as well and just send his.
That's one to keep an eye on.
But it is one of those things, if they lose, what do those kids think? Like, are they looking at it like, we're not going to, I'm not playing in the bowl game anyway. You guys, I got you guys bowl eligible. Is this what Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter are thinking?
You would hope not, but you really don't know. I saw a clip the other day where the academic advisor was with the team talking about registering for classes next week, and Shedeur let out a big talk about next semester, and he's like, don't worry about that. I'm on the first thing smoking out of here. So I still think it's a very interesting situation there, but they have been better than I expected, better than I think a lot of people expected. They've won quietly. This might be an interesting game to pay attention to.
Okay, I agree with you. That's one that you keep an eye on Saturday, 4:00. That game will be on FS1, I believe, is the channel for that. That's another one when you talk about kind of going to the night games. This is one I circled at the beginning of the season. I was like, this will be a big one, November. Florida State at Notre Dame. And now it's not so big. Notre Dame, the game at Notre Dame, 7:30 NBC. Florida State just trying to end this thing in the quickest way possible.
Yeah, I would really love to get into the mindset of a Florida State fan because as I was looking at offensive statistics, Vandy and South Carolina are in the same neighborhood. Florida State's in a worse neighborhood. They are bad by every statistical measure, and it's really surprising to see how bad they actually are.
Yeah, that one is. It's going to go in the down with the all-time greatest debacles of college football. I'm trying to think of anything else. Texas A&M several years ago, I believe under Jimbo Fisher was top 10 to start the season and went 5-7 and didn't make a bowl. And that was considered just awful. Remember, Florida State was number 10. They were number 10 to start the season. And obviously, this has gone completely sideways. They do at least have an ACC win. Remember, they lost to Memphis, but beat Cal.
Cal, who ended up being decent this year. But maybe we should have known when we saw that first game in Ireland against Georgia Tech, and we thought it was more of a credit to Georgia Tech, but maybe Florida State just stunk all year, and that's what we're finding out.
Yeah, very possible. Another 7:45. I'm going to get to the big 7:30 game, but another 7:45 game. This is interesting. Oklahoma is favored in Columbia, Missouri, against number 24, Missouri. Again, using the college football playoff rankings, number 24, Missouri. The Sooners are expected to get some of those wide receivers back. Jackson Arnold stated this week he feels like they are coming back together as an offense and should be a lot different. But Oklahoma going on the road to Missouri, old Big 12 matchup. Sooners are 5-4. They're fighting for bowl eligibility. They won last week against Maine. They've got Missouri, Alabama, and LSU left. And part of me feels like this might be their best chance to win a game. They're favored here, even though they get Alabama in Norman.
Well, looking at the injury report for Missouri, Brady Cook is listed as questionable. So I'm assuming he's
50-50.
playing. So that's 50-50. What I don't know is the nature of the injury. How does that actually impact his particular game? So, yeah, Missouri's proven that without Brady Cook, they are, to say they're cooked.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
So, and I think if you're South Carolina, you're hoping Brady Cook plays and doesn't take a week off to rest and get healed. You hope he plays against that Oklahoma defense and gets beat around a little bit and comes in here still a little sore. Just an interesting Big Ten game, just because this sounds like a great Rose Bowl. Washington making the trip to Happy Valley to take on Penn State. Penn State's a 2-touchdown favorite, but coming off of that loss to Ohio State, it makes you wonder if they're just going to be completely dejected. What is it? What is James Franklin now? Is he 1-10? 1-9? I can't remember if it's 1-9 or 1-10 against Ohio State. Like, you just wonder if another loss deflates Penn State. They didn't fall that far. They're just number 6 in the college football playoff rankings. They're in good position. They're fine to make the playoffs, maybe even make a run if they wanted. But you wonder if they're so dejected they just kind of fall apart and lose this one.
I saw a statistic that says Shane Beamer has the same amount of top 10 wins as James Franklin.
Okay.
So you can take that for what it's worth. And I wonder, going into Penn State, obviously it's going to be a thing. Much like here, those people are going to show up, but I wonder how really invested they actually are.
Again, all their goals, everything they want is still in front of them. Maybe not a Big Ten championship, but again, that was their only loss. They still are right there in the hunt. Indiana loses a game, Oregon loses somewhere. Maybe it's a little bit different, but I do. Just one. That one's on 8:00 on Peacock. 7:30 is kind of the game of the weekend. Alabama at number 15 LSU. This is considered essentially a playoff elimination game now.
Who was that? Alabama versus who?
LSU.
Well, are we going to pull out the fraud detector for this game?
I don't think it's a fraud detector game because they're two good teams, but whomever loses is out of the playoff. Mm-hmm. And if you're out of the playoff, this is where it gets kind of interesting, and this goes back to the Colorado discussion. If whichever team loses and is eliminated, what is the investment of their players who are solely built to make the playoff? Not the Citrus Bowl or the Gator Bowl or the Music City Bowl. What is the investment of the players that, like Garrett Nussmeier? I've seen Nussmeier now popping up on some first-round projections to be picked. What is his investment for the remainder of the season? How loyal is he to LSU and a score? How loyal is he to his health and a future large paycheck?
That's a very interesting trade-off. Garrett has proven himself that he was willing to ride the storm. He's gotten benched. He's waited his turn. But now that his turn is coming, he's proven himself. He might be looking at dollar signs rightfully and saying, hey, you know what? I've done what I needed to do here. It's time for me to move on. I didn't really consider this outside of Colorado, but you might see some of this things start happening with these teams as they get eliminated from the college football playoff.
I mean, nothing against Florida, Vanderbilt, or Oklahoma, but you wonder if Garrett Nussmeier, and then you wonder how NFL franchises would take that. Well, he quit with 3 games left, essentially. Or where's he at mentally? Is he looking, or is he protecting himself? Again, that is maybe the devil. It is something, again, as we talk about the evolution of what is now the game of college football. What happens when one of these teams, because as Paul Feinbaum said, there's no tomorrow for the loser of LSU or Bama. And let's be honest, those Bama players, they went to Alabama expecting to play for Nick Saban, most of them, and expecting to win championships, not, again, go to the Citrus Bowl.
Yeah, that's not what they want to do.
803-404-6100. Couple injury reports to get back to that I can read right now. But text always in. It says, physically feel fine, mentally playing through after getting tax bill and car died with shopping for a new car payment.
Whew. Yeah.
And then also text always in, torn Achilles out for the year.
Oh, no. I imagine you're not in the age bracket where a torn Achilles is going to do you well. That, whatever. There's a quarterback that plays for the New York Jets. He might be able to help you out.
Oh, yeah. Contact Aaron Rodgers.
Just go ahead and, torn Achilles guy, cayenne pepper, lemon, and water. That's what Aaron Rodgers is doing, so maybe that'll help you out too.
803-404-6100, how you can weigh in. We'll get back into some coaches talk on Diego Pavia, and I'm going to give you one other game that I forgot about that we need to discuss just for a second, because a coach, well, we had a coaches gone wild situation on a fan base this weekend, and we'll let you hear said coach going wild on the fan base and get Preston's reaction. You're listening to Bill Gunner, Preston Thorne, Jen Jensen. It is the early game. Bill Gunner for AAA Heating and Air. Let me ask you this. Do you think you have the oldest heating and air unit here in the Midlands, in the AAA service area? If so, you need to go to AAA Heating and Air and sign up, myoldair.com, or you can actually just go to the AAA Heating and Air website, but you need to go today and get signed up. That's right. They have a contest going, and if you have the oldest heating and air unit here in the Midlands, you may just win. Go to myoldair.com and get signed up. This is a contest for every 100 entries. They will pull a winner at random. That's right. So again, go to myoldair.com. Contest is for a limited time only. Only residents in the AAA Heating and Air service area are eligible to enter. See the terms and rules on their website for a full list of contest rules. Again, that's AAA Heating and Air's contest, myoldair.com. Trying to find the oldest heating and air unit here in the Midlands.
Kind of messy conditions for your commute this morning. I-77 southbound at exit 1, actually north and southbound on I-77. There is a slowdown on both sides impacting traffic flow. I-20 westbound at Monticello Road, an accident there, and they're working on getting things cleaned up. I-20 eastbound between Clemson Road and Spears Creek Church Road. They now have 2 lanes open, so you need to stay left. The right lane is currently blocked. Going to see this rain today. Might be tapering a little bit around lunchtime, a little bit south of here. But we'll see that rain today and a high of about 74. 79 with some morning showers tomorrow. Should be clearing up by Saturday. But right now, rainy and 67 on 107.5 The Game.
$7:20 as we get you up and get you going. Reminder today from 12 p.m. to 2 p.m., Elijah Campbell will be broadcasting from Dillon Columbia Supply Company, 320 Orchard Drive in West Columbia. You can stop by and see him again 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. today. Elijah Campbell will be out there again at the Dillon Columbia Supply Company, 320 Orchard Drive over in West Columbia is where you can go and hang out with him. 803-404-6100, how you can weigh in with your injury reports. We like to keep check on our listeners, like to make sure y'all are healthy and moving.
Got to see what's going on with our roster.
Chuck in Georgia's got an injury, a pickleball elbow.
Oh, no.
Doubtful for the weekend.
Is that an overuse injury? Is that like a tendonitis deal, or did you swing too hard?
Fall down?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess, yeah.
If you've read the reports, pickleball injuries are on the rise in America. Folks, it's not for the faint of heart. Don't get into a pickleball game that you're not fully properly stretched and ready for. 803-404-6100. You're a big fan of Mike Gundy?
He's intriguing to me. Yeah, yes, I am, actually.
Jen, this is Mike Gundy on Monday on a media call talking about negativity around his program.
This place has had tremendous success for 18 and a half years, or 19. I can't do the math real good. And so, unfortunately, in life, most people are weak. And as soon as things start to not go as good as what they thought, they fall apart and they panic. And then they want to point the finger and blame other people. That you see it happen in everyday life. People do it all the time. That's why I refuse to watch the TV and watch the news, because I get tired of people complaining and versus just doing something about it and trying to figure out a way to make it better. Well, that's what happens in college athletics. And as Jenny said, she's exactly right. It's just on the bigger stage where people can voice their opinion. And in most cases, the people that are negative and voicing their opinion are the same ones that can't pay their own bills. They're not taking care of themselves. They're not taking care of their own family. They're not taking care of their own job, but they have an obligation to speak out and complain about others because it makes them feel better. But then in the end, when they go to bed at night, they're the same failure that they were before they said anything negative about anybody else.
Take that, all you negative fans.
All you broke boys out there who aren't happy with me, let me tell you how much money I'm making. $7.75 million. I can pay my bills, and he should just come out there like the $1 Million Man. Come on into the ring. Do some push-ups.
Just have a money gun as he's saying it and shooting it into the air. Just shoot up. There goes my electric bill. How about you? Can you pay your? Oh, you see that? There went my internet bill.
All you broke fans out there, listen here. We've been winning games for 18 years, and now you want to complain? Ha, ha, ha. $7.75 million. Take that to the bank.
By the way, he wasn't. Remember, he wasn't done. He not only did he tell them they're broke and they can't pay their own bills, he ended it with they're still the same failure when they went to bed as they were when they woke up that morning.
Okay, I'm going to have to bring something back here because this was the beginning of villain LeBron. I don't know if you remember when LeBron said, you're going to go to sleep being you and I'm going to wake up still being LeBron, and people hated that. This is along in the same book, the same chapter of, hey, listen, I have a lot of money. And actually, I'm pretty good at my job, too, so back off.
Oklahoma State, 7 o'clock at TCU this weekend.
To be clear, Mike Gundy has called his fans broke this year. Slightly advocated for drinking and driving. Slightly, just.
I think he actually just said he's done it.
Softly, So Mike Gundy's having a regular year. This is what he does every year. The only thing he's not doing this year is winning.
Right.
And that's the problem.
Yeah. So now, because you can do all that when you're.
He also fixed the refrigerator. I don't know if you remember that from the press conference. The refrigerator was good. The cooler was going off. He got behind there, fixed that.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Mike Gundy's having a banner press conference year this year.
803-404-6100 is how you can weigh in on that. A couple of y'all very pleased with the song that Jen just played. Said whoever queued up that music needs a raise. Well, that would be Jen.
I'll take it. 17 million, I'm good.
Yeah.
It'll work.
803-404-6100. So there you go, TCU and Oklahoma. Now, South Carolina gets Diego Pavia. And let's hear, this is Clayton White. Let's hear this again. This is number 17 yesterday from Clayton White. But he's talking about Diego Pavia's ability and what he brings to the game.
I mean, you are surprised when you outside looking in, but once the season started going, I get crossover tape of other teams and just watching them play. Not surprised that of his background. Not surprised that he was a previous winner. I was well aware of that. He went down to Auburn and got things done before, so that wasn't my first time hearing the story. But when you watch the tape, I mean, some things can be surprising. But he does a really good job. He has some Houdini in him, so we got to do a great job of him embracing tackles with him and make sure we're smart and we have other guys through the ball containing him and keep him in the pocket. But not super surprised because I've kind of heard him a little bit. Just make sure we on point, understand what we're facing. That's the most important thing.
What's your take from what you've seen on Diego Pavia and how South Carolina slows him down?
Yeah, I think this is going to be the generic answer as always, but being able to pressure. We're going to get a little bit dorky this hour, so we're going to attack the mesh points on the option, sending our defensive ends, making him have to make a decision very early, hopefully putting hat to helmet pretty quickly, and making sure that if he decides to keep the ball, he knows that he's going to have to pay a price for keeping the ball. So it's just going to be the same thing. The only tweak is going to be that quarterback pressure is going to be on the run game instead of the passing game.
803-404-6100 is how you can weigh in. Texter, officially not a fan of Gundy. Not a fair assessment to make. The only people who are against me are failures. It's not a valid argument. And then another texter, sounds like we have a new segment on 107.5 The Game called Gundy on Monday.
He would show up. He'll show up pretty frequently.
He's going to bring his A game, and he's going to criticize his I mean, I feel like the fan base is like, all right, bud.
Yeah, relax.
Chill out. 803-404-6100. We'll get back into what Preston just talked about, talking about tackling and handling the run game for Vanderbilt. When we come back, it is the early game. Bill Gunner for Zerorez Carpet and Air Duct Cleaning. And with over 2,000 Google reviews and a 4.9 star rating, let me tell you, there is no one better suited to clean your carpets, your rugs, your tile, your upholstery than Zerorez Carpet and Air Duct Cleaning. With Thanksgiving just around the corner, likely meaning Thanksgiving dinner or Thanksgiving lunch at your house, is your house ready to handle the relatives? If not, it's time to call Zerorez and take advantage of their November deal. Get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned for just $129 when you mention me, Bill Gunner, at 107.5 The Game. So give them a phone call, 803-262-4020, or schedule online, ZerorezColumbia.com. Again, all you got to do to get this deal is mention me, Bill Gunner, at 107.5 The Game, and you'll get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned for only $129. Again, 803-262-4020. Zerorez, spell it backwards and forwards, is the right way to clean.
Sloppy conditions, standing water, and all of that out on the highways this morning. Have an accident, I-77 southbound and northbound at exit 1. So slow going both directions there. I-20 westbound at Monticello Road, working on that. And the right lane continues to be blocked. I-20 eastbound between Clemson Road and Spears Creek Church Road. That rain continuing today, should be slowing a little bit after lunchtime. 74 will be our high today. Tomorrow, maybe a few morning showers, and then should be clearing. 79 for the high. 74 with some partly cloudy conditions on Saturday. But we do have that light rain. Again, just kind of sloppy. 67 on the early game.
Eight 803-404-6100. How you can weigh in this morning if you caught me off guard. I had my computer on. I didn't know where that you saw that. Yeah, like I was like, that voice sounds familiar. I had my computer on and flipped over to our 2-hour live stream where you can always go. Hope, Craig, Colby, Michael, all in there. Michael says he dropped a 4x4 truck on himself, messed up clavicle. That's an injury. Be careful with that. So, but you can always go to the Game TV radio and you can join in. We have a chat session over there where you can talk about anything that you've heard. So please feel free to go in and watch us on our live stream. And you can, again, take us in that way. Again, it's the Game TV radio where you can go and hang out and join our chats. It's powered by Integrated Media, sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. Reminder always, you can download the 107.5 The Game app from iTunes, Google Play, and listen anywhere. This is your segment. This is where you love it. You just dork out on the run game. And yesterday, Dow Loggins talked about the pin and pull run game. Preston Thorne.
Bill, I'm going to read a post to you. I want to see if you can translate any of this because I am speaking English American words, but I want to know if you can pick up on any of this. All right, are you ready? This is from Clark Brooks, SEC StatCat. Great follow on Twitter. South Carolina rep duo dive, bully power, inside zone bluff read the most versus Texas A&M. But the former joined mesh RPO slide flat, gaining over 70 yards. The QB pin and pull went 4 for 4, but gained the most, while half of the shots worked out in screens and slants.
No, I have no clue. Read the first part again, but just slow it down a tad.
South Carolina rep duo dive, bully power, and inside zone bluff read. All five saw 5 reps, but they also ran mesh RPO slide flat, gaining over 70 yards.
Yeah. Huh?
Do we want to hit Dow?
Let's let Dow Loggins. This is Dow Loggins yesterday talking about the pin and pull run game.
That is correct. We have done that. I don't know that it was game ready to do it at the level we did it at that game, but you're also looking at scheme. You're sitting there saying, Texas A&M's D-line's really good. Like, they're really good. And you got to attack 53 and a third. We talked about this last week, like triple options. Like, is that a bootleg? Like, you got to stretch the field some way, somehow. Well, that was our answer versus those guys. And so we probably majored in a little bit more. And we hadn't done a ton of it to that point. And that's what the bye week helps you with. Like, you got a chance to challenge your schemes and see if your players can handle this stuff. Perimeter blocking's huge. And sometimes you need bigger wide receivers to be able to do that stuff and be able to sit there and block a defensive end, block a linebacker, block a bigger safety. We felt, and given the extra time, we felt like we could get that thing going a little bit to help us in that game to continue to stretch the field wide with, because you have to attack. There's a way to win every game, and it's your job as a coach sometimes to find that way to put your players in position to make plays, and you're not going to get in a freaking in a phone booth and beat Texas A&M. They're physical and they're big and they're really well coached and highly recruited. So that was our answer to kind of take away some of their strengths and play to some of our strengths. Josiah moves well. So for him, like, let's get him moving a little bit now. Now we have to find our receivers and our tight ends that can perimeter block versus defensive ends and linebackers as well. So that credit that goes to those players because they executed schemes. Some of those were hard on other guys, but it was playing some of like Josiah and Case, and they move well, so it plays to their strengths. But Nick and Mazio, like, they did a great job on the edge. Josh Simon, they did a great job also helping and allowing the ball to get to the perimeter.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Are you with me? Pin and pull.
We're hanging on for dear life, but I'm still here.
Pin and pull. It's really simple concept. It sounds like it's a lot, but remember, the people playing football, they're playing football for a reason. They're not trying to make this too difficult. Okay? Pin down means they're going to take the last man on the line and block him inside. And the pull is going to be from either the tackle or guard, but what he was talking about was Josiah. Josiah is going to be pulling around. So you block somebody down inside, and then he's pulling around on the outside. That's about as simple as I can make it. So when you get on all this verbiage about pin and pull, you can use a tight end to probably slam down on a defensive end. One, giving yourself a chance, especially if they're very good. You don't want to block them straight up. So you give yourself an angle, you can block down on them, and then you let Josiah, who's probably not as strong, being that he's a freshman, let him use his athleticism to get out there and block people in space. That being said, South Carolina is doing really well this year. I was looking at a statistic. They're averaging 6.5 yards on outside the tackle runs. So they're doing that very well. This is where we go into the Sean Elliott conversation. That is a hallmark of his run game scheme. Not sure if that's part of Dow's game, but it seems as if Sean has had an influence on the run game.
Let's hear something real quick from Dow on the improved offensive line, because they played better to run for the way they ran. Now, the PFF grades were kind of odd. Then you get Torricelli Simpkins winning Outland Trophy Offensive Lineman of the Week. But let's hear what Dow Loggins had to say about the improved offensive line yesterday.
It's everything. This is the SEC, the NFL is a line of scrimmage league. And the best, you go back, you look at the NFL, like, you're not going to have good teams without great offensive lines. You're not going to have great defenses without great defensive lines. I say this all the time. Coverage always beats protection. Protection always beats coverage. Like, if you can protect long enough, like, your wide receivers have more time to get open. Defensively, if you can sack and affect the quarterback, like, your DBs all of a sudden become better.
Two NFL references in there.
Two. Okay. What I'm starting to develop a theory on is that maybe the offensive line is not getting better. Maybe the coaches are getting better at calling plays that they can do. I'm starting to wonder this because he said that they've brought in a little bit more of the pin and pull game. Maybe some of the run game they've changed from the initial schemes. And you know this as a coach, as any coach would know. You don't want to ask your players to do things that they can't do. And maybe the coaches have finally come to accept the reality that, hey, these players can't do certain things. Let's get them in situations where they can, and that might actually be where the improvement is. I need to go back and look at that because that might be what's happening.
It's interesting to see this now. Was it fleeting? Is it temporary? Was it a 1 week thing for Sean Elliott's? I think there's a lot of questions here about the long-term success of this run game with Sean Elliott's hands on it. Has it just taken time? Has it taken 7 weeks to essentially get this to where it's at? And in Game 8, it all kind of came together. Well, that was a good Texas A&M defense. I think
absolutely better than good.
Yeah,
elite. Number one.
That's one thing to remember. I think it's easy to be like, well, if you ran for that amount of yards against, say, Akron, you go, well, it was Akron. All right, yeah, you're bigger, faster, stronger. That A&M defense had held LSU to just 26 rushing yards the prior week, and South Carolina was able to rumble all over them. Obviously, the big Rocket Sanders run as well, but there was plenty of other runs, and the scrambling ability that plays into it of Lenora Sellers. But I'm interested to see if this is something after 7 weeks. Is it clicking, and will it hold? Not just for 5 more games, including a bowl, but for the program moving forward.
To add on to that statistic, going back to what I said, averaging 6.5 yards per carry outside of the tackles, 2.5 inside the tackles. So, I mean, you can kind of look at those numbers and say, hey, maybe this is what we should be doing.
Let's listen to this, too, because this is Dow Loggins, and he's talking about cohesion versus development on the offensive line. And this kind of goes to what you're talking about. Is the offensive line developing, or is the play calling now adapting to it? Here's Dow Loggins yesterday talking about the cohesion of the offensive line versus development on the offensive line.
Both, and that it really is, and that's to Hale. The point is not just that simple. If it was, we'd play like that every week. But it's getting 5 guys to play well together. The only way to increase the value of the team is increase your own personal value. And how does a young player do that? He plays. Like Lenore's to this point has played better every week, and Josiah is getting better every week, and some of these young guys are Mazio Bennett's getting better every week. The offensive line gets to play every time they get to play together as a unit of 5, they get a little bit better, or they should get a little bit better. I told you guys that when this whole thing started. I knew where we were going to start. I knew what we had. I knew that there were going to be growing pains. I knew this thing was going to be hard. I knew that there was good in front of us. And now we've shown a little peek of it, but it doesn't matter what we did last week if we don't go out and play well and place and strain and win a ball game this week. It doesn't matter. No one cares, and that's the intensity that everyone has to take in this whole game. But to their credit, they played really well last week. But now we're on to the next one, and the next one, this is the biggest one of the season.
That's right, Dal. This is the biggest one of the season.
Oh,
Thank you.
good.
Thank you for listening, sir. We've been trying to say that every game, all week, every year. Yes. The main point, let me be serious for a second. The main point is that they've avoided the injury bug, and they've been able to play those 5 linemen consistently, which we have not been able to say that at any point during the Shane Beamer era.
It's been a long time since they've been able to say that.
Kudos to them. Kudos for them for staying healthy, whether that's Luke Day or them taking care of their bodies, whatever it is. Being healthy, being able to get reps has obviously improved their quality of play.
I've wondered about that because we've talked about maybe if you make a move with Jatavius Shivers, J.C. Sherbert had even questioned moving some guys around, putting them on the interior, making significant changes to your offensive line. But either to their credit or not, I don't know how you want to label it right now, because if we were having this conversation a week ago, we're not saying, no, you need to make some changes, you need to do something. Well, this week now we're like, okay, hey, good job. What does it look like against Vanderbilt and Vanderbilt's defense? We'll talk about that as we roll through the rest of the program. Also, get back into your injury reports.
Yeah, because I got a question for injury reports. I got a question for the fam out there.
And I understand this happens. Texter Ways and been driving an hour sitting on the wallet. I now have a glute and lower back. 803.
Must have a lot of cash in that wallet.
Yeah.
Mike Gundy style.
Yeah. Mike Gundy texting in.
Really quick, Coach Holtz used to say, y'all are taller than me, but wait till I stand on my wallet. That was verbatim.
Head coach stepping in. 803-404-6100 is the early game. Bill Gunner from Mid-State Roofing. All right, here in the Midlands, we got some rain today. Actually, it's been a little bit more than rain, and it sounds like it's going to be raining all day. Now is the time you're going to find out if your roof is ready to handle it. And if you find a leak, well, you know the saying, it's time to let Mid-State Roofing take a peek. And 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, they are there to help you. That's right. You're going to speak with an on-call technician or a Mid-State Roofing employee. You just have to give them a phone call, 803-356-1919. Again, that's 803-356-1919. You'll speak with an on-call technician or, again, a Mid-State Roofing employee. But what matters the most is you're going to speak with someone. So if you've discovered a leak this morning or you think your roof is now not ready to handle some heavy rains during the winter, maybe some of the winds that pop up, you need to call Mid-State Roofing. Whether it's your business or whether it is your house, you want to stay dry this winter, and Mid-State Roofing is ready to help you. 803-356-1919. Tell them Bill Gunner sent you.
Welcome back into the early games. Preston Thorne, Bill Gunner, Jen Jensen. We're having a lot of conversation. We're dorking out over the running game. We're talking inside zones, duo, bluff, read, pin and pull, all the stuff that would get a nerdy offensive guy very excited. But we're also talking about injury reports. I said I woke up with the upper body, specifically a neck. Said I had a crick in my neck. And then I told Bill that I was stove up. Bill looked at me a little strange. Looked at me strange. And I looked back at him strange because when I went to explain what it was, I realized I didn't actually know what it meant. I just know I've heard the word in this context before, and so I've used it. So I'm stove up, and 803-404-6100. Does anybody else know what does anybody know what it actually means? Because that's where I am right now, and I think I've just only heard old people say it. So, yeah, I'm stove up. Jen, so that's my injury report, stove up.
Jen, you want to take this one?
I just have always heard it like you had a crick or might even have a crick in your back or, it's just kind of an unidentified issue. I don't know. I'd have to look in a medical dictionary.
I don't think stove up is a medical term. Maybe. I don't know.
I haven't heard that one.
But that's what I am. That's on my injury report. Stove up. So if you know what stove up means, let me know. I just realized I used the whole word not really knowing what it means, but I know the context of how I use the word.
Send us your injury reports. And if you're familiar, Joey from Sumter, he's on top of it. A couple of y'all are here, actually. Mm-hmm. Stove up means you're sore and stiff, mm-hmm. Need to stretch.
Yep, there it is. Yeah, Bill. Stove up.
In other words, basically I show up every morning kind of like that. That's why I'm out there in between breaks laying on the floor and stretching. I appreciate a lot of your text. A lot of y'all. Just remember, we try to be from 7 to 8, more of a family program. Okay, Greg says it's an old expression. It means stiff as a stovepipe. So just everybody says stove up.
There you see. Look, there you go.
Ron going stove up equals stiff. Yeah, all right. You're stiff. Yeah, got it.
My official injury report is stove up.
All right. Yeah, I'm with you. All right. No, Never been in the vernacular that I've had.
Yeah, and again, I used it. I didn't know what it ever meant. I think I just might have heard my granny saying it or something like that. It's like, okay.
All right.
I got it.
All right. Yep. Send us in. Yep. Texter says my granddad used to always say he was sore. He was so sore you couldn't touch him with a powder puff. 803-404-61.
Just had a caller who said that the explanation, if I get it correct, it's from those outside wood-burning stoves, and you would put wood in there, and then when you did, and I guess didn't use it for a while, the doors might rust, and you couldn't get them opened up. So doors rusted. So, yeah, you were stoved up because, you're kind of stuck.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Keep sending them in. AJ says he has a back. So yeah, get it. Send us your injury reports. We could do this because South Carolina getting out their injury report. Mazio Bennett not on the injury report at all. He's good to go. The names that did stand out were DeAndre Jules. I think they expected him back, so that's maybe a little bit of a surprise. And then the one that really kind of came up was Nick Barrett. But Vanderbilt's, and I'm looking at the Vanderbilt website, Vandy 247. Vanderbilt's came out and on it, probable, which means he'll play. We expect him. Diego Pavia, the moderator or the article in here, I should say, Robbie Weinstein, puts in here a note. It says Pavia has been banged up for much of the season, but this represents his first appearance on the official injury report. They have a running back, Cedric Alexander, who is listed as probable also. He says Alexander toughed it out against Auburn after ditching a bulky knee brace that appeared to limit his movement in warm-ups. So you've got kind of a situation there where Vanderbilt comes in, and we've talked about this. Vanderbilt's played 5 straight since their last bye. This will be their 6th straight game. They're coming in a little stoved up or banged up, if you will. And that tends to happen. South Carolina coming out of the Texas A&M game relatively healthy and ready to kind of handle maybe some of this.
It is interesting because regardless, everybody at this point in the season has things that they're dealing with. But for Diego Pavia, for him, such part of his game is his mobility, is his being able to move, make things happen. As Clayton White said, he's a Houdini. There is possibilities that limits his game. And if his game is limited, Vanderbilt's already very average or below average offense will not be able to effectively execute their game plans.
Again, that's why I say within reason, within the rules, if you get a chance to hit Diego Pavia, you've got to take advantage. Cedric Alexander, I mentioned the running back. By the way, he is their leading running back rusher. You want to guess who the leading rusher on the season for Vanderbilt is?
I imagine it's
Diego Pavia.
There you go.
Diego Pavia leads the team in carries and in yards, 146 carries for 563 yards.
Now, that's more surprising than yards is carries to me. So they put a lot on him.
Alexander has 115 carries, so he's got a 31 carry difference over Alexander. There's your offense. We'll talk more about this. Pin and pull, plus playing against the run, all the fun things, and your injury reports. Keep them coming. Hour 3 on the way. Thanksgiving is 3 weeks away from today. 3 weeks. Have you started thinking about what the meal is going to be? Now, you can always go with your traditional turkey, but I know sometimes y'all like to break the mold. Go with some steaks. Maybe go with some fish. You know, where you can get 2 great steaks or a couple great slices of fish. You can go to Old Timey Meat Market. That's where I visit. It's where I'll be going later on today, gearing up for a weekend of college football. Maybe it'll be some cheddar bacon burgers, probably a little bit of chicken salad for some appetizers. Maybe I'll get some of their soup for tonight since it's kind of rainy. Homemade soup. Whatever it is, Old Timey Meat Market has you taken care of. You need to visit one of their 3 great locations. St. Andrews Road in Irmo, South Congaree, or, of course, the Lexington store where you'll find me. Trust me when I say Old Timey Meat Market has the absolute best selection, the best cuts of meat, pork, poultry, fish, steak, whatever it may be, and they have them at the absolute best prices. Trust me, the Gunner family loves Old Timey Meat Market. I recommend you stop by today and find your next great dinner.
continues to be kind of busy out there on the highways, and definitely some sloppier conditions. Looks like the rain has tapered in some areas, but expecting rain throughout the morning. Could be potentially heavy, and then maybe tapering a little bit this afternoon. I-20 westbound at Monticello Road, there's an accident there. They're working to clear. Also still clearing things I-77 northbound and southbound at I-26. Right there at exit 1, there is an accident in both directions, slowing things down. But again, talking about that rain through today and a little bit less this afternoon. Could see some morning showers tomorrow. Today's high 74, tomorrow 79. Should be clear for Saturday. Right now, light rain, as we mentioned. It's 67 on the early game.
$8 a.m. Fight through the injuries, the soreness, the stiffness, the lingering injuries, pulled hamstrings, whatever you got, cricks in your neck. Get up and get going. We got one more hour here on your Thursday morning where several of y'all are weighing in as we have discussed a lot about the run game this morning. South Carolina's run game and Vanderbilt's run game. In particular, the fact that Diego Pavia leads Vanderbilt in rushing attempts, 146 on the season. That's a good bit, too, by the way, through 9 games, if you're breaking that down. But also, he leads them in yards, 563. He scored 4 touchdowns on the ground this year. He is on the injury report, but he's listed as probable and expected to play, but he is banged up. The next leading rusher for Vanderbilt, Cedric Alexander, is on the injury report. Sounds like he's got a knee. Had a big, bulky knee brace, they said last week. Cedric Alexander for Vanderbilt has 115 yards and 440 yards. 115 carries and 440 yards on the season, 5 touchdowns. So your 2 top rushers for Vanderbilt are out.
Yeah, and that's a majority of their game. They don't have much of a downfield threat, but everything that they get downfield is based on you playing the run and them taking advantage of you being scared. So there is some opportunity there. And I think I'm starting to build this case here that even with Diego Pavia, even with them, they're still not as good a running game as South Carolina.
Right.
And we know what South Carolina's been all year. So I would say going into this game, yes, Diego Pavia is very good. He's been very exciting. It's new. But if we just pull back and look at the numbers, not sure how much of a threat it is against our elite defense.
That's kind of the big thing. So we'll continue to talk about that. We do have Brian Edwards of VegasInsider.com coming up in the next segment. We will also have Josh Harris for our Corley Pool Solutions Checkered Flag Challenge this morning. Final race of the year. This is it. We head out to Phoenix and we wrap it up. Unfortunately, our Pick'em Challenge for the year is wrapped up, and Reggie Anderson takes home the trophy for the 3rd straight year. Is that right? 3rd straight? I'm trying to block out some of this, but Reggie Anderson takes
it's 3rd year.
Yeah, that's a shame.
It's on your sheet.
I don't know where my sheet is, to be honest with you. That's why I was kind of.
I guess we'll fetch you another one.
Glancing around for it. Preston found his.
He's already made his pick, though, and he basically is just kind of phoning it in because why does he have to make a significant pick? So.
Oh, he opted out, essentially?
He what?
He's already got the championship, so he basically opted out?
He's picked a championship pick because, this week we pick the race of the winner of the race, but then we also pick a championship pick, and we can all pick the same one for that.
Right. Okay.
But so basically, I can tell you it won't thwart anything. He's picked Ricky Stenhouse Jr., who doesn't do well at Phoenix. So Just being nice to see the rest of us can get some extra points.
That's sweet of him. That's very sweet of him. All right. Thank you, Reggie. Yeah. So anyway, Josh Harris coming up here in about 30 minutes as well, and we'll catch up with him. We'll speak with him next week. Some interesting stuff kind of coming out, and we'll get Josh and Jen's thoughts and opinions on maybe NASCAR suspending drivers next year for things that take place. So we'll hear kind of what they have to say about that. And again, look ahead to Phoenix this weekend. Again, Brian Edwards of Vegas Insider and MajorWager.com do up as well. So we've talked run game this morning a lot. We've listened to Clayton White. Jen, one more time, let's hear the opening statement from a happy Clayton White. This will get us going into a happy segment, a relatively happy segment, where also we have to update the injury report. Our in-studio injury report has grown by 2. We didn't realize. But let's start with a happy Clayton White and his opening statement yesterday.
Good afternoon. Hope you guys are doing great. Quick review of last week. Just very proud of how, first and foremost, the crowd was unbelievable. We felt like that was one of the better environments that we played in since we've been here. You know, obviously every Saturday or whatever night we play in Willie B is outstanding, but I thought that was unbelievable environment for everybody who was there. Just reviewing the game, obviously love how it all started out. You know, the second quarter was kind of bumpy. The finish of the game was what we're most proud of as a football team. Just how we finished the second half and we came together and just came out victorious. And then this week with Vanderbilt, obviously a team that's riding high, on a roll. Different Vanderbilt football team led by their quarterback Pavia. He does a really good job of just distributing the football. He's very mobile in both ways, as far as in the pocket and also quarterback run mobility. I think they have some weapons. Really good team. Looking forward to go down into that and play.
Kim, Coach White, hoping we're all okay, but we're not. We're not. Preston has a neck.
Stove up.
He's stove up. Jen has a foot. She got mad and kicked a weight.
I didn't get mad.
She was angry.
Foolishly walked into it, putting other weights away.
Yeah.
Apparently, when you're barefoot and your toes go into a 12-pound weight, it doesn't move.
Bad business.
What are the odds?
We realized off air in the break we have 2 others to add to the. Now, I'm good. I'm healthy today. I'm healthy. On the flip side of things, and Preston and I actually had this conversation when we walked in because we discovered Jen has an injury, Jen's family has an injury, and Preston, you just got report of another illness, another injury in your family.
As of 7:49 a.m., Riley the Rottweiler is on the injury list.
Oh, no.
She threw up on the futon this morning.
Okay, what is going on? Because that's why I was running behind today, because I had one that got sick. At least it was on the tile floor, but not on the futon. Ew.
Yeah. And shout out to my lovely wife. She was like, I can't do it.
Did she go on the injury report?
It'll be there when you get home.
Oh, my gosh. No. That's so funny.
So, yeah, Riley the Rottweiler's on the injury list.
Oh, no.
Yeah, walked in. Jen was on time. It's not like Jen was late, but Jen was
late for me.
For her, yeah. And she said the dog got sick, and I walked in, looked at Preston. I was like, I don't think there's anything more annoying than when a pet gets sick because they can't talk to you. They can't, like, hey, I'm going to throw up. You better put me outside. They just.
And it was honestly yesterday, and I put it on Twitter. It was me who wanted to get ill because got a little construction work going, so the dogs are kind of blocked in a sunroom, but they can still go in and out through a dog door. And I walk into the sunroom like, hey, guys, I've got you blocked off so I can let you in another part of the house. And I'm like, wait a minute, what? I don't recognize that toy. Yeah, it was a dead frog.
Oh, no.
It's like, and, the husband says, well, did you just get like a plastic bag and then do like you do when you pick up dog stuff when you're going on a walk? I said, nope, wasn't feeling that. Got the little grabber things that look like tongs. Yep, all the way out.
Yeah. I hate to say it, but this is why I don't have a pet.
I hear you.
It's a wild situation that you two are dealing with. So continue to send in.
Well, good thoughts for Riley.
She'll be fine.
Yeah.
She's soldiered through this many times before. She just never learns her lesson.
Yeah.
Oh, So self-inflicted?
More than likely.
Okay.
More than likely.
A couple of y'all on the injury report this morning. Our good buddy, Nick Stratton, our rugby aficionado, says, I had a tap class last night. I got a knee this morning. Shamu weighs in. Just finished an AM workout and have a sprained ego at 60 plus. That is a good result. Joseph weighs in. Sleep deprivation. Probable for the game this Saturday. Not sure if sleep deprivation comes from having a young one or not. Totally understand that. Yes. Mark says, injury report, day-to-day, especially driving to work, but I'm a man. I'm 40. Attaboy. Way to battle through.
Nice.
Text always improbable. As one of the old guys I played golf with growing up. Man, come on. Can't finish that.
It is 8 o'clock, man.
Yeah, we've hit the 8 o'clock hour. 803-404-6100. We'll come back. Brian Edwards, Vegas Insider, will join us. We'll keep sending us your injury reports. Please keep them clean. We're in the 8 o'clock hour now, which still not as clean as the 7 o'clock hour, but I got to be careful with reading your injury reports if you've strained other parts of your body that we prefer not to read on air or anything like that. We try to keep this as a family-friendly show. We enjoy our current job status and do prefer not to jeopardize that. 803-404-6100. Reminder, Carolina Calls with Shane Beamer tonight right here at 107.5 The Game, 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. You can hear that. Also tonight, we will have Bengals and Ravens on Thursday night football, 7:30 pregame for that. So a good night of football for you to check out. Shane Beamer at 6 o'clock and some pregame Thursday night football starting at 7:30, kickoff at 8 for the Bengals and the Ravens. Back with Brian Edwards of MajorWager.com and Vegas Insider. You're listening to the early game.
It's Jen for CHW Cabinetry in Lexington. The demolition we had to do in our kitchen, got the new cabinets in. They were fantastic, great experience. So then it came to, we had another bathroom that had to be taken care of, had to get a new cabinet in there. Great experience. We're in now, hopefully the last remodel in the house and the master bath, getting another cabinet for that. And obviously, very, very happy with the service. And I'm telling you, they do more than bathrooms. They do more than kitchens. If you have a closet that needs to be more functional, CHW Cabinetry, they can help. Want to replace those wire hanging racks, maybe make things more functional, get more drawers, they can help you with that as well. If you have a home office workspace, maybe you're trying to create that, they have all kinds of ideas to help you in that respect. I encourage you, if you're doing any kind of remodeling and needing new cabinetry, chwcabinetry.com is the place to go. Call them today at 803-520-6837. And of course, be sure to tell them Jen Jensen sent you. CHW Cabinetry, passion from inspiration to installation. Things kind of messy out on the highways, as we've been talking about this morning. Have an accident reported, Old Cherokee at Old Chapin in Lexington. Also, I-26 eastbound just after Piney Grove Road. I-20 westbound at Monticello Road in the cleanup stages there. And an accident, Corley Mill Road near Lee Cleckley Road. Expecting rain throughout today. Might be tapering off a little bit after lunchtime. And then some rain tomorrow morning. 74 today, 79 for tomorrow. Clouds and 74 for your Saturday. But right now, the light rain in scattered areas across the Midlands, and it's 67.
$8:16 here on a rainy Thursday morning in the Midlands, but we get you ready now for the college football weekend. Of course, we've been asking you about your injury reports. Keep sending those in. If you want me to read your name, I can. We got one texter who says, playing hooky from work today, and I've got his name. Playing hooky from work today, nothing wrong, so put me down for concussion protocol. Joined now by Brian Edwards of VegasInsider.com. Brian, we're checking everybody's injury reports this morning, our listeners' injury reports. We like to make sure everybody's good to go for the Friday morning show on the weekend. How is your injury report? Preston's got a crick in the neck. Jen's got a foot. I'm actually perfectly fine this morning. A little bit of a surprise there. How you feeling? How's the injury report?
I'm right there with Coach. I can use a neck massage.
I feel you, sir.
There you go. All right. So we'll list you as probable, 75% chance to play this weekend and pull it out. But you're 100% for right now. Good to go, and glad to have you back on. Make sure you check out VegasInsider.com as well as MajorWager.com. Make it part of your daily reading and check out what Brian has to say before each and every game before you make any of those plays. So let's start here, and let's start with the one right here in town and get your break. Well, I should say in town, the one that affects us. It'll be up in Nashville. Vanderbilt is the underdog again, and you are already siding with Vanderbilt. Give us your take on this South Carolina Vanderbilt game. Diego Pavia, by the way, will play, but is on the injury report.
Yep, I saw he was probable last night. Two teams playing really good football right now. Two teams feeling really good about themselves. I made it a pick 'em. I think it's a toss-up game. In terms of who wins outright, I think South Carolina played fantastic last week. Coming off the open date, it was a game they were really gunning for at home, at night. And you guys I don't know how many times I've beaten them in a row, but you played them every year, right? And I don't think Vandy's won since like 2008. So maybe a little bit of a flat spot for South Carolina, although both teams have, tons to play for. I'm not, implying that South Carolina's like overlooking it or anything, but Vandy returns home off a big win. Again, I just think it's a toss-up game, and so I can get 3.5 with Vandy at home. They've already been an underdog 6 times this year, 6-0 against the spread with 4 outright wins. And the 3 games they've lost, they lost by 3 twice, once in OT at Missouri, and they lost by 4 once. And I'm going to buy the half point from 3.5 to 4. Actually, I haven't looked at the line this morning. I'm assuming it's still at 3.5. Oh, here it is. It looks like it's 3.5. Looks like one offshore's got it at 4. So I'm going to buy it from 3.5 to 4 and just trust in Diego Pavia. I think we're going to get a nail biter. Very easily could be a game that either team wins by 3, but Pavia, 15-3 TDI and T ratio, a team high, 563 rushing yards. And he's still Hugh Freeze's daddy. Give me Vandy +4.
In case any Auburn fans are listening out there and was having a good morning, now that's been thrown down the tube a little bit. Let's stay with the college ranks here. what is the stat? I've been trying to go back and find it this morning. You like Indiana. They're almost a 2-touchdown favorite. And this is like the first time they've been favored against Michigan in like 40 years, 45 games, some ridiculous stat like that. Are you familiar with that one?
I'm not, but it sounds absolutely correct. And not only that, but Indiana has only won 9 games in program history twice, and that was in 1943 and 1967. They've never won 10 games ever. So if Kurt Cignetti's not the National Coach of the Year, it'll be a criminal act. They've won every game by 14 points or more. I got them 13.5 on Monday morning, but now they're 14.5 for 15. Let's hope your listeners that are tailing me maybe will buy the half, get a 14.5 and buy it to 14 for only minus 120 juice. So Indiana had not trailed for 1 second all season long. But last week, Sparty jumped on them 10-0 in the first quarter. So how did they react? They scored 47 unanswered points, easily covered the spread. Curtis Rourke, star quarterback, had missed or he'd left in the first half 2 games previous in that blowout over Nebraska. They were still able to cover and win by 14 without him against Washington, but he comes back. 4 touchdown passes, no interceptions. He's now got a 19-3 TDI&T ratio. Michigan has lost 3 of its last 4, is mired in a 1-4 against the spread slump. All 4 of their losses this year have been by double-digit margins. They've been on the road twice. They're 0-2, both straight up and against the spread. And maybe worst of all, Will Johnson, their star corner, who's a projected first-round pick, has missed back-to-back games and is questionable, and Michigan's other starting corner is questionable. So we'll see if either of them play, but they're not 100% healthy for sure, and that's no bueno going against Indiana's high-octane passing attack. So Indiana and Vandy are once again my 2 favorite picks in college, and I'm all for, a parlay with either or, with the 2 of them. And, those are my 2 favorites. But you're welcome to ask about any of the big games, Bill, Georgia, Ole Miss, whoever.
Well, let's get now. You got 4 top picks for the week. You got 2 in college, Vanderbilt and Indiana, as you just described. Let's go to the NFL and get your top picks, and then Preston, I'll throw a few games at you to get your take on these games.
Sure.
But you will start with Detroit. You like the Lions this weekend. You called them last week. I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. You had Vanderbilt last week. You had the Lions last week, and I believe you had the Commanders with your top picks. You were 3-0 again last week. You're kind of sticking with 3 of the 4. You're adding Indiana, but you like the Lions again this week.
Oh, I had Indiana last week as well, but no, you're right. On the DM, I said they weren't my top. Yeah, I clarified that those were my top 3 picks, just like you said. And let me clarify again this week. My 1 and 2 are Detroit and Washington. Now, Detroit has moved to 3.5. So if you have to pay heavy juice to buy it to 3, which you probably will, maybe a minus 130 price, I wouldn't go any higher than that, though. If that's the deal, then I like the Commanders a little more. But I love both of these. They're both absolute ATM machines. I mean, I've been betting these teams pretty much every week. Detroit's won 6 in a row, both straight up and against the spread. They won 24-14 at Green Bay last week, but it was a misleading final. That was utter domination. They were up 24-3 early in the third. Green Bay got a meaningless touchdown and 2-point conversion, with like 3.5 minutes left. Jared Goff, the last 5 games, 11 touchdown passes, no picks. And during their 6-game winning streak, 4 of the wins by double digits. Love Detroit here, laying the 3 by the half point. And then let's also go Commanders. Both of these, I've backed the Commanders 8 games in a row. I've gone 7-0-1 against the spread. The odds makers continue to undervalue them. And Jaden Daniels is just playing fantastic football. And they're at home where they are automatic, both straight up and against the spread. So let's go. I got it at 2 early in the week, but you can get it at 2.5 or 3 with like at even money juice right now. So Commanders and Lions, and just like Indiana and Vandy, let's parlay them together, and let's make some good cash.
All right, so those are his 4 top picks. All right, so if you're gonna follow him, Indiana. Well, I think you said your top picks are really the Commanders and the Lions. Those are the big picks if you're really following him. And then the college game, Vanderbilt and Indiana. Let's ask you a few other college games. Just get your take. Let's start tonight. Little Thursday night football action. Both sides, NFL and college. App State traveling to Coastal Carolina right now. I've got Coastal around +1, and this game could be 1.5 depending on where you're looking at. Your thoughts on Appalachian State and Coastal Carolina tonight?
Man, my bad, Bill. I haven't really given these 2 games tonight much of a look. As for tomorrow in college, I wouldn't be against a teaser or money line parlay, even though they both are on the road. But I think Cal and Iowa will both win. Cal's at Wake and Iowa's at UCLA. Iowa's -6 and Cal's -7. So maybe a teaser with those 2 teams or a money line parlay. And you can have action on 2 of the or actually, you can do a 3-team money line parlay because I like Memphis at home to Rice as well.
Real quick, do you have anything on tonight's Bengals-Ravens game? Do you have any eye on that or just stats or anything?
You know, I may look to maybe play a team total for Baltimore and/or Cincinnati. I think they're both going to score a lot. I'm assuming T. Higgins is out. I saw doubtful yesterday. If T. Higgins was playing, I would take the Bengals catching the points. I'm sorry, Bill. I should have looked at Baltimore's team total and let you know and been a little more prepared there. My mistake.
No, you're good. Let's get one more to see have you any thoughts on it since we talked South Carolina tomorrow at 3:00. Clemson. We asked you about Clemson last week. I think you liked Louisville plus the points. Louisville knocked them off outright last week. Clemson now goes on the road to Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech's running the football pretty well. Clemson last week struggled stopping the run, but the Tigers 6.5-point favorites in this. The over/under set at 52.5 at the current moment. A big game for Clemson here. Virginia Tech in a home spot here. Any opinion? Any ideas on Clemson laying the 6.5?
Well, Kyron Drones did not play last week, and the backup played pretty good. The offense wasn't the problem for the Hokies last week, but I'm not really sure. I don't think it's been declared what Drones' status is yet. If I were confident he's healthy, I'm a probable lean the Hokies, especially if I can get a 7. But I don't know where Kyron Drones is on his rehab and getting back. And we're still a good 48 hours and change out. So if Drones is upgraded, I might end up being interested in Vatek. Clemson had been on fire, but obviously last week I didn't really watch any of that game. I'm not sure what happened to the Tigers.
Brian, we always appreciate, again, his plays for the week. Top 2 plays, Detroit on the road against the Texans, the Commanders at home against the Steelers. Steelers, by the way, picking up former Clemson wide receiver Mike Williams in a trade this week. And then his college plays, Vanderbilt, he did mention them, and Indiana laying 2 touchdowns basically to Michigan. Brian, we always appreciate it. Look forward to catching up with you next week.
Thanks, guys. Y'all have a great weekend.
Appreciate you.
Take care. Brian Edwards, VegasInsider.com and MajorWager.com. Visit those sites. Make it part of your daily reading to keep up on anything that you might be looking for. We come back. Oh, hopefully we won't hear from Reggie Anderson, but we will hear from Josh Harris. Josh Harris, as we look ahead to the final NASCAR race of the year, it is the early game.
We have a significant amount of incidences to let you know about. Bush River Road at St. Andrews Road. Also, Corley Mill near Lee Cleckley Road. I-20 westbound at Monticello Road getting cleaned up there. Also, I-26 eastbound after Piney Grove Road. Highway 378 near I-77 between Green Lawn and East Exchange Boulevard. And in Lexington, Old Cherokee at Old Chapin. Going to see this rain for a bit longer today. It should be could be tapering off a little bit in the afternoon. Looking for a high today of about 74, 79 tomorrow with just some morning showers before the precipitation gets out of here. Saturday looks like clouds and 74, 67 with scattered rain across the Midlands.
Rolling along here, and we'll get back to some football coming up. We got one texter, Zach, not happy at all that Brian Edwards was honest, gave his picks of the week and took Vanderbilt. Got to be honest. You got to be honest.
He's not always right, though.
Huh?
But he's not always right.
That's right, but he's got to be honest. He's got to be honest, and he has been red hot in making his picks, much like, unfortunately, Reggie Anderson this year was red hot in making picks. And joining us now for our final pick'em of the year, we will have you back as long as you're available next week, Josh, to kind of recap everything that started in February, and we wrap it up this weekend in Phoenix. Welcome in this morning. Hope you're doing well.
Doing well, and absolutely come back next week. We'll recap it all and get ready for the off season.
Preston, you have a question you want to get to.
I just have a really novice question for Jen and Josh. How do they keep the championship races honest? With everybody being on the track, how do they stop shenanigans from happening?
They don't. I don't know. Your thoughts, Josh?
Yeah, I think it's one of those where I think the competitors in the championship race try to give, I would say, the opportunity to those four drivers competing and not do anything that would intentionally impact their outcome. So not saying they won't race them hard or treat them like any other race, but I don't think I think you saw last week what will happen if teams start trying to do shenanigans to get points or otherwise. But the great thing about the championship race, when it gets down to those final four, there are no stage points. There is simply, among those four drivers, whoever finishes the highest in the race. So you don't really have to worry about other drivers necessarily trying to impact them. If you've got a faster car, you get around them.
Gotcha.
And do you want to speak to what happened last weekend with Wallace and Chastain and Dillon with regards to, like, Byron?
Yeah. If you watch the race, as it was getting into those final 50 or so laps, the picture starts to come into focus in terms of what drivers may have an opportunity to get in on points and which ones need to win. And pretty much it came down to, on the point side, it was Christopher Bell and William Byron. And it got to a point where there was basically a 1-point difference. Either Byron needed to lose a spot or Bell needed to pick up a spot. And several Chevrolet drivers caught up with William Byron, but within about 10 laps, they essentially what looked to be kind of riding behind him without passing. And that in and of itself maybe wouldn't have been enough evidence, but NASCAR listened to their audio and some other factors, and based on that determined that they were not competing, I guess, at 100%, and therefore trying to manipulate the end of that race by not passing Byron so that a Chevrolet would get that point. Similar with Christopher Bell. Bubba Wallace, within the last 3 laps, really slowed down. He was about a half a lap ahead of him and slowed down enough that Bell could pass him, but unfortunately when he passed him, he stayed up against the wall, pulled a Ross Chastain type move, which NASCAR has deemed as not legal anymore, and so he was penalized, his positions, and it really came down to this week, penalizing those teams that were involved in trying to, in NASCAR's view, manipulate the end of the race.
Yep. So shenanigans, do tend to happen. But
Gotcha.
I agree. I think this week it's a case of you have 4 people. Obviously, everybody wants to race for the win, and you don't have to win the race to win the championship. But yeah, and I think we have an interesting 4 this week for sure.
Well, let's get your take to start with that. Blaney, Logano, Reddick, and Byron. Your take on this as they go into it. We're going to make picks in the championship here coming up here. By the way, if I'm reading this correctly, all 4 have 3 wins this
Correct.
year. Reddick and Byron have both 20 top 10s. Logano, the lowest on that mark, has 12 top 10s. Blaney was 17. So, Jen, I'm not asking for your pick just yet,
Yeah.
but your take, and then we'll go to Josh on what y'all's thoughts are between those 4.
I mean, all Blaney and Byron and Logano all have been in a playoff before. Blaney, of course, has won one, won a championship. Logano's won 2 championships. Reddick, this is his first time getting into the championship 4. I don't know that this is a fabulous track necessarily. It's funny. I was looking over kind of Reddick's appearances, and it seems like in March he does well, but in the November Phoenix races, he doesn't. It's just a strange anomaly. So this might be an opportunity for that to change with him. Logano's seasoned at this before. He's had a couple weeks to kind of lay back because he had won, so he's been in. So I don't know. I think it's an interesting 4 for sure because Logano during the season and even Byron just weren't having stellar performances throughout the season. So to see the 2 of them in the Final 4, I think makes it just a little more interesting. I don't know. Thoughts, Josh?
Yeah, I would agree. I think, we all probably 3-4 weeks ago, if you'd have said we were going to get to Phoenix and Kyle Larson's not going to be in there and you're not going to have a guy like Christopher Bell in there or Denny Hamlin. I think that some of that would have been a little surprising, but Joey Logano took advantage of that first race at Las Vegas, getting in on that last 8th spot, and he won the race, which punched his ticket and really put the rest of these guys that have had better overall seasons, you could argue, into a much tougher position going into Homestead and Martinsville, where pretty much they had to win. And that's what we saw. Reddick did what he needed to do at Homestead, took advantage of a late caution, and stayed out and was able to win that race. So as we look to what to see at Phoenix, I think, last year was the first year in this playoff Final 4 era where the championship 4 driver did not win the race and the title. I think you may see something like that again this year, where the champion may not win the race. It may be one of our non-championship 4 drivers to take the win, and then it will ultimately be like Blaney last year, finishing second in the race, but took home the championship.
Let's real quick do a sporty sports discussion. Who is this, of those 4, who is this race most important for? Blaney going for back-to-backs, Joey Logano going for championship number 3, or Reddick or Byron trying to get their first championship? Who does it mean more to in their career? Jen, who you got?
Oh, well, I mean, for Reddick, it would be his first championship.
And for Byron, right? I don't see Byron.
Correct. Yes, it would be his first as well. Yeah. So, I mean, you got 2 veterans and 2 who've never won before.
Blaney would have back-to-backs.
Yep.
Blaney would have
Which would be a great dynasty of sorts.
I don't disagree with all that, but those young guys, I think, still have opportunities for a guy like Joey Logano to put something together this season and be able to lock in, secure a 3rd NASCAR Cup Series championship. I think that puts him in pretty elite company when you look at the history of the sport and the number of drivers that have won 3 or more championships. So I would say it may mean as much or more to Joey than any of the other guys.
Logano would become the first person to win back-to-back championships since Jimmy Johnson did it. Johnson went on a run. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Blaney. I'm
you're
sorry.
good.
Blaney, I've got a Logano stat, and then we'll make picks very quickly here. Johnson did it in 09-10 when he went back-to-back. Logano, if he wins, it would be his third championship. He would join Tony Stewart, Darrell Waltrip, Cale Yarborough, David Pearson, and Lee Petty with 3 championships overall. He'd be 1 behind Jeff Gordon. Obviously, he'd be 4 behind Jimmy Johnson, Dale Earnhardt, and Richard Petty. All right, let's we know the results, but let's make some picks real quick. You guys know who I'm going with, Hamlin, so I'll remove myself from the discussion, and then that should bring us to Jen.
Okay, and who do you have picked for to win the championship?
Give me Logano. I think Logano, the third. I'll take Logano.
Okay, I'm going to say Blaney.
Blaney. That brings us to Preston.
Give me.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. Does that bring us to Josh? That brings us to Josh.
Yeah.
Brings us to Josh.
I'm going to go with Kyle Larson to win the race and Ryan Blaney to win the championship.
Okay.
I think that's good.
Give me Byron for the race and Logano for the championship.
Well, if Byron wins the race, then he would win the championship.
Well, then give me the sweep.
Okay. Byron it is.
And
Reggie has Byron for the championship. He's got Stenhouse for the race. So
okay, Stenhouse and Byron. Josh, we appreciate it. Look forward to catching up with you next week to recap all of it.
Sounds great.
Take care.
Thank you, sir.
We'll be right back to wrap everything up. Bill Gunner, for the Ecton Law Firm, have you received one of those nasty notices, the dreaded notices from the IRS? Well, if you have, your business or your personal taxes could be in trouble. It's time to call the Ecton Law Firm, where you can get a free consultation. You heard that right, free consultation to help start navigating the IRS maze. Give them a phone call today, 803-771-9800. Now, you got to remember, time is limited on this. You have got to get in touch with the Ecton Law Firm today. If you've received one of these notices, your business may be in trouble, you may be in trouble, but the Ecton Law Firm has proven local solutions to help navigate the IRS maze. So call today and get that free consultation, 803-771-9800. Take the first steps towards a worry-free life. Call the Ecton Law Firm and get that free consultation to discover how the Ecton Law Firm can transform your tax worries into a thing of the past. Bill Gunner for Mid-State Roofing, where for nearly 30 years, Mid-State Roofing has been the leader in the roofing and waterproofing industry. And you know what? You probably don't think about your roof 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. But I can tell you this, Mid-State Roofing does. That's why they've been the leader for nearly 30 years. And 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, they're ready to take your phone call. Whether you're here in Columbia, whether you're in Aiken, Augusta, Florence, Myrtle Beach, whether you're somewhere in this great state, Mid-State Roofing is ready to help your business or you with your roofing needs. From high-rises to hospitals, manufacturing to industrial, Mid-State Roofing designs and installs bonded systems with a protective guarantee that keeps your operation dry and running long into the future. So give them a phone call today, 803-356-1919. Let them help protect that roof with a maintenance contract. Again, call today, 803-356-1919. Call Mid-State Roofing today. Tell them Bill Gunner sent you. All right, get yourself healed. Get yourself healed, folks. We've been reading these injury reports from all of you. A lot of you are banged and bruised. You're stoved up. John just says I got too many to type out. Let's read a few more. Jim says I pulled a hammy trying to pick up a crayon off of my classroom floor.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Shep weighs in. Actually, he sends us a video. I can't read the video. So, Casey and Gilbert, injury report. Casey's banged up, sleep deprived, hurt back, sore body, guaranteed to work because I'm a father of 7.
Oh,
and then
probable.
And then he gives us a score prediction of Carolina wins by 20 plus.
Nice.
Reminder, we got a lot going on here on the game. Today, 12 to 2, Elijah Campbell broadcasting from Dillon Columbia Supply Company. You can go see him, 320 Orchard Drive out in West Columbia. 6 o'clock tonight, Carolina calls Shane Beamer and Todd Ellis over at Backstreets Bar and Grill. Make sure you listen to that right here, 107.5 The Game in Columbia or 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. Also tonight, 7:30 pregame for a fun Thursday night game, Bengals and Ravens, 8 o'clock kickoff. Tomorrow, we've got South Carolina basketball. They're back in action.
I have a prediction.
We'll get into that tomorrow. 6:30 pregame. 6:30 pregame for Lamont Paris's team. They took on South Carolina State. And then following the basketball game tomorrow night, so roughly around 9-ish, we'll have the Love Chevy High School Football Scoreboard Show. Justin Hall, Elijah Campbell, and producer Ed Bird. Make sure you tune into that.
Is this week 1 playoffs?
No, I think we're 2 weeks away. I think we're 2 weeks away.
Okay.
We'll find out. And then Saturday, don't forget, Gamecock Game Day starting at 11 a.m. at O'Hara's Bakery, Main Street, Lexington. We'll be there getting you ready. Gamecocks and Commodores. If you're not going up to Nashville, come on out to Lexington to O'Hara's Bakery on Main Street in Lexington. We will have you covered there with Gamecock Game Day, getting you ready. You can hang out and watch the Gamecocks and the Commodores over at O'Hara's Public House Main Street. That's Jen and I's area, so we know that's right next to each other. The bakery, fantastic. And, of course, O'Hara's Public House Main Street where you can watch the game and hang out, and you could win future Gamecock football tickets. Preston? It's only Thursday, but we got football tonight. A little rain here in the Midlands. We've been talking about maybe a super chilly kind of day, but it's supposed to get in the 70s.
Yeah. The weather's not quite cool enough for that yet. But, yeah, great weekend if you want to watch some games. Though they're not good, I do think I might tune into that Coastal Ave game.
8 o'clock tonight. Down in Conway, Brooks Stadium. Look, big game. If we're being honest, number one, it's just a big game. This has turned into a bit of a rivalry. The last 3 games have been decided by a touchdown or less between these two teams. Coastal's won the last 2. They're at home tonight. You want to keep that win streak alive for them. Also, get you a game closer to bowl eligibility. They are at Marshall next Saturday. Georgia Southern comes to Conway on the 23rd, and a trip to Georgia State. So getting one step closer to bowl eligibility would be really good. App State's 4-4. They got off to that rough start, getting just smashed by Clemson. They got smashed also in a Thursday night game by South Alabama, but they've bounced back a little bit. Point spread tonight, Coastal is favored by 1, maybe 1.5. According to ESPN, 70.8. Excuse me, I'm looking at the wrong game. According to ESPN's football FPI index for tonight, Coastal has a 58.3% chance of winning.
Okay. We'll see. Like I said, I don't know much. I think I'm going to tune into this game and see.
Check it out a little bit and maybe go to TVs tonight to tune in and catch a little bit of the Ravens and Bengals. Fun game there, Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow.
Yeah, again, shout out to our guy, Travell Warren, offensive line coach for the Ravens. So that's who I'll be pulling for them.
803-404-6100 if you want to weigh in with any more of your injury reports. I'll get back to them tomorrow. We ask that you ice yourself down tonight. Not your drink. Don't ice your drink down. Ice yourself. Get yourself ready. We've got a great weekend of football that we'll cover a lot tomorrow and talk a little bit more about the run game. And you got some proclamations you're ready to make?
Well, I'm making a proclamation about Lamont Paris in this next game against South Carolina State. Ready to do it.
Okay.
Biggest game of his Gamecock career.
Really?
Yep.
Okay. All right.
Biggest game of his Gamecock career thus far. Yes, bigger than the tournament game, bigger than any game they played last year. This game against South Carolina State, bouncing back from what I've reconsidered a horrendous loss against North Florida. Huge game for the Gamecocks and the Fighting Quarter Zips.
All right. There you go. Well, we look forward to being back with you tomorrow. We will get into Preston's hot take on Lamont Paris, how huge that game is. We'll build up that. We'll talk about the weekend, South Carolina and Vanderbilt. Again, Gamecocks just a 3.5 point favorite. Not a huge favorite against a team they've won 16 straight against. We'll discuss it all tomorrow. Have a great day.
See y'all tomorrow.
Hey, it's Jen for CHW Cabinetry in Lexington. All that demolition that we had to do in our kitchen, we found CHW Cabinetry, and they were great in helping us find new cabinets and get them installed and get our kitchen kind of back in order. And since then, we've had to put a cabinet into a bathroom upstairs and currently doing a remodel in our master baths. Of course, we only had one place to go to find our cabinetry, and that was CHW Cabinetry in Lexington. It's a women-owned business, locally owned business, and they're fantastic. They can help you with kitchens, with bathrooms, with closets. Maybe you have some wire hanging racks and you're like, I'm kind of tired of those. They can come up with other solutions for you, put in some drawers where you didn't have before, maybe make your pantry a little bit easier, a little more functional, or looking for a home office workspace, they can help with that as well. To be sure to visit chwcabinetry.com or give them a call today at 803-520-6837. And, of course, be sure to tell them that Jen Jensen sent you. CHW Cabinetry, passion from inspiration to installation.